the zone already, you're unlikely to have to make further rotations. I can see the argument here, right? To give yourself more mobility and more combat effectiveness.
The enemy is in striking range.
Comes in terms of the composition you're also running together with your team. The EMP comes out. Nate coming right back down after a little slowdown here. Ozzy still trying to provide that extra pressure while Stay Naughty gets another nade knock here in the feed. Sid Squad's left. Lovely follow-up off the PK to get another knock. And RTS finish off what was left for that squad, but O2 now slide in from the low ground with the circle closing in behind their backs.
Yeah, not to be confused with Oxygen None area. O2 are going to go down as well, so no oxygen left in this lobby at all. No room to breathe for the 4 squads left alive. As NoiseFox, they clear out their side of the zone, very importantly. Now it's just LG and FWG on the opposite end of the arena. LG actually trying to use a portal for the reset here. That's an Apex 101 move there. You love to see it.
Just waiting out just real quick, knowing that the EMP possibly could be coming, but it's just about the information instead with the altars, them going up and down. Like they're on a zip line instead, playing off the other side of the knockdown while popping that shield bat, and those fucks don't even have to get involved.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you can see FG, they can hear the res, they want to stop it, but they're also a little bit scared of going down to NoiseFox on the other side. So they actually play it a little bit slowly, and somehow they come out out of that one the losers, and that just gives NoiseFox the chance to full send it.
Free for them, but maybe not so free. Losing it on Laika. Sasuke now moving in with the P20s on the other side. Shubi, last one left, going up on the high ground, it looks like. In this 1v1, Sasuke playing up the low ground here. Shubi trying to pop this shield back. Can't poke that just yet. He can't climb it as easily. He's forced to call in the evac.
Okay, he's going to drop down now after he gets the bat off.
The ring around the Rosie. The patience no matter what. The ping's coming in, he slides in, huge shots with the P20. No amount of pressure from the fuse he could save you here as LG with another win, make it 3 in a row, adding Broken Moon to their list with their dub.
Oh my lordy, 88 points now for LG. I mean, yeah, there's, no big celebrations at this point. I think they're just so used to taking it out in this lobby. They know it's theirs.
Look at their face. Kind of like an eye-opener, like, we still went in and we still farmed. 14 kills in total, 4.5k damage for this team for game number 4.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta remember there's 18 teams in the lobby as well, right? It means there's actually less KP available, so any kind of score that they're putting up that's anything close to 100 points is already an incredible result from LG. So we're definitely seeing, some of the separation between some of these teams now. Some of the teams who we know are, LAN contenders, finals, regulars, and that's going to be your LG, your NoiseFox, your Virtus Pro, who are sitting up there at the top, but certainly LG separating themselves from the pack.
I mean, with a huge gap, right? Like, and then you look at the rest of the lobby, and you mentioned, the familiar faces, the names of a lot of these squads that we've already been seeing in Pro League pop off. But VP with 33 points on a map that I was expecting them to have that breakout moment after a rather lackluster, aside from that first game, rather lackluster Storm Point. Still at 33 points above Legion Gaming with 32 points. So still rather tight if you look at Virtus Pro all the way down to even like FWG.
Yeah, and Virtus Pro had their chance, right? Like we saw, they were in that building. It was their greed, essentially, to play split, to go after NoiseFox, and then in the end, NoiseFox are the ones who come out and take a second place and also grab 7 kills. So, really, that could have been VP's game, or at least them challenging LG there at the end. But that misplay has cost them quite a few points here in Game 4.
And we do say goodbye to Crypto next as our next band legend here while we wait out to go into game number 5. But it's interesting because we did see that 3-way tie, right? It was Crypto, Ash, and Fuse. So Crypto being the one to exit here within our legend bands.
Yeah. I mean, the tiebreaker rules are a little bit complicated, so don't worry about them right now. But that does mean that we're quite likely to see Ashe or Fuse banned after Game 5 then. And leading into the last part of the series.
Yeah, I could definitely see it possibly being Ashe, especially with the amount of Ashe moves that we saw being done here on Broken Moon, the fast rotates, being able to get onto high ground just as quickly. But it's been a fantastic time thus far. Game number 4 done and dusted. Don't go anywhere, because we got game number 5 on Broken Moon on the other side of this break.
Nobody do it better than me, not incredibly. I do this competitively. That'll do. It's about to get critical. No need to typical. They say my influence umbilical. We gon' make it grimy. They gon' get behind me. Told you I'm the best. I done said it with my chest. So for real, nobody try me. I already feel that it's guys on me. I'm getting drop down with these big frowns. They already gone by the size of me. Two frowns with my new stuff. I will not live in the bottom. Going to catch your breath for a second. Look at your neighbor and check him. We bout to march, so if you not get to stepping. I done told you who I am, but I'm a force to be reckoned with. I think just be mad because my voice is so decadent. I'm setting the precedent. No mistakes and no accident. We ignoring the standard set because our lowest is passionate. This alone is a classic hit. I'm a verb amongst adjectives. If the industry full of then my words is a laxative. This is go time. It's show time. I ain't calming down until this place is a ghost town. Tired of the faking, but we bringing back no sound. No staring is go around. I'm taking no prisoners, so prepare for a showdown.
Alienware, the official PC of the Apex Legends Global Series.
I had a Moby on me, but don't rush. There's a team below you guys. Like, top 2.
I'm jetting here, jetting.
It's top 2.
On me.
On the head glitch, all of the head glitch.
Nice,
Go
one,
behind him.
dead. I'm with you. We killed one.
Zip, ban. Go back now.
130, 130. Last guy, 1v1. On me. Fuse, right below. You can heal. I'm watching. You're good. Heal. He's right here. Last guy. End the game. We win the game, kill this guy. Right here. You have my knockdown if you want to drop through the hole. He's in knockdown. Play my knock, baby. 1v1 this fucking piece of shit.
Where's your knock?
Right here. I'm in the bottom, bro.
Come on.
Crawling back. I've knocked down.
He's one. Nice.
You want me to drop?
Nice, man.
Dude, 1-2v3 machine. Shoot me. We're a machine. We're a machine.
This is too free.
Bro, we're a machine, Schubert.
Nice colorful language here from LG after a pop-off moment for them as they dominate our first lobby of the day for the ALGS Open.
Oh man, yeah, you can hear the confidence in them there. They think they're better than everyone else, and well, the scoreboard seems to reflect that right now, doesn't it?
It's true, it does. I mean, they did look very confident. They looked like, you know, it's just another day at work for them. But let me tell you, I mean, their form of dominance, this is the momentum that LG could use as they push through the rest of the tournament. But feeling themselves a little bit, you know, a little colorful, kind of be nice, you know, to the rest of the teams out here, but also very clutch 1v1 moment. I mean, let's not forget, he had no shields before taking on that 1v1 fight. He did have the high ground advantage.
I mean, I got a little scared when he was doing the jump peaks while healing and actually took some damage there, took some flesh, but yeah, did manage to get the bat off, and then eventually, got that completely free trade against Satsuki there where yeah, he did like 175 damage for nothing. Anyway, look, another big win there from LG, and it seems like, yeah, even when they've got the backs against the wall, like in that 1v1, they still come out on top.
Love how seeing the competition, how it's shaped up here too, because aside from LG, I'll be honest, it's a pretty tight competition here for the rest of the lobby. We were expecting really heavy hitters for our Pro League squads to come in swinging, but I also feel like it's pretty even across the board, looking all the way down to that top 10. And also, let's not forget, it is the top 10 that move onto winners round 2. It is the bottom 8 teams that go to losers, as we do have an 18 squad lobby, which also means less KP available for the teams that want to be able to secure that top 10 finish if they find themselves in a troublesome situation.
Well, we've got a little bit of time before this next game, so why don't we just have a look back at some of these wins that LG has pulled off so far in our first series at the ALGS Open. Here's some of these final circles. Start off at match 2. So we had the ski lifts down here on Storm Point. This is when Source was going nuts with the Kraber. You can see here they've walled themselves off, found a nice little pocket with cat walls here. And they're playing from the low ground, but, you know, regardless of that, they've got the Tempest. This, obviously, at this point, Ballistic is still in the lobby. And, you know, yeah, it just allows them to not have to worry about any of their resources, right? And this is something, actually, we were talking about in the green room, is that they've got the Kraber at this point. That gives you unlimited ammo on the Kraber. Like, straight up, one of the most broken things I think since they made that change to Tempest Ultimate, because that was actually a limitation that they placed on it when Ballistic first got brought into the game. And now they're just like, nah, man, you can just take as many Kraber shots as you want. Like, before you had to be so careful about them. You only had 12, super limited. And now it's just like, you know, use that thing like a machine gun, hip fire all you want, and yeah, you take the win.
And it lasts for so long too, and then you have to consider that in implementing the knocks, right? And it also really interesting to look back at these games and see what the potential of these reset legends that are not available right now, how that's influenced the pace out for teams going to Broken Moon, right? No Cat, no Newcastle out here. You can't go for those hard resets. Instead, it's a lot of repositioning now moving forward.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing a lot of these top teams who are just so much better at using their presence. They can make themselves felt in those sort of situations. That is actually crazy that, like, they get sent on in such an aggressive manner there, but still manage to pull it up. I guess that's where the Ashe nerf comes in, right? She moves through the portal slower now, so you actually get a little bit of time to see that that's coming and react if an Ashe is aggressively portaling on you like that.
That's a really good point, especially when you feel pressure from the zone and you already took a Bocheck headshot to the face. So this is a great 1v1 too that we just saw after game number 4, our first game on Broken Moon for the day. But Shubi was able to get that reset off the bat before dropping down. Obviously trying to see where the positioning of where that player was before dropping down again. But also the pings and the comms from his teammates really helped out in terms of noting where the positioning was.
Oh, okay. I think, was that I think they were trying to throw out a knuckle cluster. Was that what I saw there? So that's why when he swung around, he's locked into the animation from the tactical and he can't fire back. So perfect timing there from Shubi, and that's how he wins the 1v1 in the end.
Should be feeling himself for today too. I mean, even earlier in the first 3 game highlights, you know, finding those highlighted mooning moments. As you can see, 23 kills going in favor of Shubi, and right alongside him, Stay Naughty with 18 KP, Saucer right there with 9 KP, but putting down the peppering, putting down the damage that they need to get the follow-up.
Putting the sauce on top? No, we can.
Some extra sauce, maybe. I don't know. I mean, Saucer, you know, gotta make sure that everything is served nicely on a plate for Shubi and Stay Naughty.
Yep. It's hot sauce today. I mean, at what is it, 88 points or whatever they've got? Give me that. Where's one of those bottles of the Nessie hot sauce we have?
They may be in my bag, so I don't know. You didn't hear it from me, though. But it's pretty fitting considering that we are in NOLA as we take a look at a couple more stats for Shubi here. Not only has he done the 23 KP, but 6.5k damage over the course of 4 games.
An incredible amount of damage and kills that this man has laid down so far. It's been a masterclass from LG so far. And you saw, like, every one of those fights was almost a completely different situation, right? Like, Game 2, not in a great spot, low ground. They somehow managed to dig themselves out of it. You know, Game 3 was a little bit easier, but then Game 4, you know, have to come out in the 1v1 in the clutch and win it. So yeah, it's not like it, you know, all of them were in the bag. They have had to fight, but that's the thing about these top teams. They seem to be able to find their way consistently to the dub.
As we get set up here for our next game of Broken Moon, our players are ready to go here. It's a little bit more time. Remember, we did see Crypto be the next legend banned before diving into this next game. We saw a 3-way tie originally. Very interesting. I do predict that for this 5th game, we could expect perhaps maybe Ash, with the utility that we saw into Broken Moon game number 4, the opportunity to get onto high ground instantaneously too. The Alter also providing such great opportunities to try to go in for a third party here.
What is that stat line? 22 kills, 14 kills, 14. Wow. Yeah, look, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how we handle some of the stats going forward. Because obviously, I mean, if you're looking at all games across all lands, like, pretty much every record's just going to get broken this this LAN, right? Because, yeah, well, there obviously there's a greater range of skill in the teams that, you know, we're getting here, which is amazing in some ways. We've got, you know, I've already seen some of the, you know, Apex South teams that have been casting for years and years, and these guys who've been grinding away in Pro League but never had a chance to strut their stuff on stage, to get here to a LAN, to meet all the other people that they've been playing with for this whole time. So some real cool positives about being here at the New Orleans LAN. Here's the POI draft we've got here on Broken Moon. VP, number 1 pick, of course, going for Quarantine Zone. It's basically 3 POIs in 1. And they were enjoying their fast rotation from their last map. Didn't work out for them so well, but hey.
Same thing can honestly be said about LG with the way that they quickly rotate out of stasis. They also have the survey beacon there available to them before making their way over to where that next zone could potentially be going. As game number 5 starts up here on Broken Moon, LG has just been terrorizing this lobby. As you take a look at the kill leader on your screen, again, Shubi with 23 kills. All 3 members, honestly, of LG being up there. Staynati to follow up right behind him. But it's great to see. You mentioned what the potential skill gap there's been in a tournament like this, right? You also have the opportunity for the left field Dark Horse to really come out and showcase what they got to show us. And again, it is just our first series of the day, so we have a lot more action to go.
Yes, it'll be fascinating to see. I mean, there's so many teams here, surely someone's going to have that breakout performance, right? We've just got to wait and see who that is. Looking where the zone is pulling, it's not too far from where LG is sitting over at Stasis Array. It's actually going towards the divide, where No Surrender are sitting. Virtue coming up from Bionomics and DXA over at Terraformer. I've got to say, picking Terraformer maybe not so much because of the loot there, but because of its proximity to where the zone is liable to pull on Broken Moon. I wouldn't mind that as a strategy.
Yeah, I could see that. Taking a little bit of time to get that loot, but then going in for rotate to where these next zones are pulling. Great spot, at least for them to be in. Also, counting about 13 ashes in this lobby. Alter following up with 9 picks. Something to know before we dive into our final game. EXO already involved, though, in an early fight here from a distance.
Yeah, they're up towards Alpha Base there, taking on Most Hated.
Oh, LG Shubi's won! He gets away. He actually gets away with a crumb of health. He manages to pop the med kit. Staynati trying to hold his angle. This team's trying to get aggressive here, trying to take up on the high ground.
God, they've all just been barreled away into one corner here, and that's the perfect time to use some nades, isn't it? As they get right on top of them. They can't dodge it. An enemy with the frag will take down Naughty first, and Shubi will follow him not long after.
I mean, someone's got to stop them with the way that LG's been playing, and O2 now move in. Feel like they have to go right back outside before taking the Ultra Porter right back around, dancing around the crates. There's only so much you could do. 10-10, though, gets the finishing blow onto LG. First team getting exited out of the lobby.
Yeah, so they won't make it 4 in a row. They won't even make it to the placement points here in Game 5. Atsum, let's go 0-2. I mean, imagine coming up against a team that just dropped like 50 kills in the last 3 games and then be like, yeah, we'll challenge them straight up.
I love it with the name too, like hand in hand, because you say 0-2, it is a double elimination bracket, but they're not going 0-2 in this case with their positioning right now and being able to find those picks onto LG. But talking about some knocks here, Soden, it's the trade, having to back away. Saw that they were trying to go in for a fight, but the Portal Nexus allows them to reposition, back away, hopefully try to get that reset, but they won't because the finisher comes out, doesn't let them take that.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a metagame around the Void Nexus now from Ulta, right? You have to, yeah, exactly. You got to worry about putting a finisher down so that they can't actually, you know, use it or be pulled back into it from an Ulta. You've also got to, you know, if you're on their team, you can also wonder about, you know, maybe trying to create some space for your teammates so that they've got a couple of seconds just to pop the, you know, pop that Void Nexus.
And then the phase 2 on top of it, getting on top of high ground, the altar, putting them up here. But the Lazar, though, the last member alive for Most Hated, while EXO had 2 Chaotic goes on the left side, and Most Hated get eliminated. I like the attempt there, but EXO playing so spread up on that roof can make it so difficult when they all have to just look at one side, which is when the altar comes up on that portal.
SGB, nice little evac over the mountains here. They've decided to go sort of north of Bionomics. Perhaps predicting that this ring will pull further over there and not be a pullback towards Terraformer, which, from my eyes, still looks to be a distinct possibility.
I gotta hype up again, like the fact that this is our only lifeline here in the lobby, SGB. Like we have 1 Pathfinder, 1 Mad Maggie, 2 Mirages, 3 Rays, 7 Fuses. It's fantastic. Even looking at Bangalore, 7 picks here. Watson with the 8. Like you mentioned, Genome in our last game, no crypto, right? So no EMPs to worry about here in this case for the teams that want to bunker down. NF also down a teammate here. They lost out on their Bangalore, but because they have the Mirage here, they could try to make some moves.
Yeah, and interestingly, I think we've only picked up maybe 1 Watson, right? We were saying how, you know, we could see an uptick considering how big of a counter crypto is, but yeah, only +1 as far as I've actually no, maybe it's +2. Anyway, look, a small increase. I think the other thing is we haven't seen any Gibraltars introduced. That's another character that you will see come into the lobbies at some points once crypto is out. Again, because his bubble is just so vulnerable to the crypto EMP. You know, you use it because you're in a dire situation, you feel safe, you have this sense of safety, and it just gets ripped away from you from a crypto EMP, and most of the times you see that, you know, essentially the team just gets caught with their pants down and gets wiped out immediately. So,
you know, talking about teams that I feel like have been getting caught with their pants down. What is going on here with Riddle Order? Only 3 points throughout the course of the 5 games.
It's been such a rough start to the year for these guys, and yeah, I genuinely don't understand it. You've got Meltstera, incredible player. You know, land finalist. You've got Tider. Sure, it's not a shotgun meta, which I'd always favor him in, but you know, he can play more guns than that. And then you got Saku as well. Like, these guys are some of the powerhouses of APAC North, and it is just incredibly surprising to see them struggle both in their own region and over here at LAN.
And right now they're looking at EXO, who have that slight high ground advantage, although the zone pulling over to the south side that they now know. Seeing if they try to take this fight. In the distance, Riddle Order take the Ash Portal now, trying to engage on EXO. The nades, though, trying to block out the door before taking a different angle.
Yeah, indicators galore over here.
Oh, they swing him immediately. The tether coming in from EXO. That was fantastic. And now that's also split the attention of Meltstera. No KP on the board for Riddle Order as they go down early again.
And you see, I think one of the things we've seen teams get so much better at in the last, even just couple of months, Vicky, is knowing when to quit, right? And that's whether you are an Ashe or an Alta or playing on a team with one of those legends, but people are getting much better at recognizing that, hey, we don't need a support character to craft anymore. We can, at any point, just get out and try and reset. And we saw there at the end of that fight, there was a chance. I believe the Ashe player on Riddle there had their TP up. They could have got out or even just dashed away, but no, they decided to chal instead in a situation that they are gravely outnumbered in, and they lose their life for it.
Having to look back to see what Riddle Order could do. fix themselves in that last game, in the next game. Ross, though, incredibly low, 1 HP, RTS on the other side. Full blue Evos, by the way, so slight Evo disadvantage, but having the high ground helps them out here. Just going to be able to back away in time, too. You don't want to get third party in a situation like this. Now that a lot of squads probably already have that ring console, too, seeing that it could be pulling over to the other side of Terraformer.
Yeah, I'm sure a couple do, but even then, it's actually still quite 50-50.
Yeah,
it's actually still sitting like very much on top of the mountain.
My favorite position in a zone like this is actually where SGB is standing, because you could call in an evac tower. You don't need a Valkyrie. Like, we don't have a Valkyrie in this lobby. So you got that evac tower, and you could go over the mountain if necessary. But it's about holding a position that you could prevent third-party opportunities from coming in. So at least your back is closed off rather than having every angle open.
Yeah, whether you survive on the evac is another question.
Yeah.
But it is possible, right? So you do give yourself a chance to make that very, very, very late rotation if that's the case. Speaking of evacs, this is EXO from up in Eternal Gardens. They're going to try and go into Divide. Let's listen to them make this rotation.
I'm gonna phase it with you guys.
I got inside that. Nice. I'm moving up on him.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pulling on him. Nice. No, I'm big.
I'm up.
No. I ran back. Nice.
Oh my god.
I'm buying.
I'm down.
They're jumping in.
I'm buying.
Wait.
How did you miss it?
Get him. Nice. That's one.
Wait, on me.
One more. There's a dragon squad. Leave.
No, I can't. Run away, Arctic. Run away. One south east.
One chasing. Two chasing. Jumping on you. Only one jumping.
Still shoot 3-1. Just keep running. One still on me.
The passionate comms coming in from EXO. They tell him to keep running. They're chasing him down, but he can't go anywhere. Even with the Arc Star down at his feet. And after getting that finishing blow and sending EXO back to the lobby, we get a quick pause here. But you got me on the edge of my seat here, basically, after watching and hearing that listening from EXO.
Yeah, look, it was a hype fight from them. Unfortunately, they took my advice from from earlier, right? Did a little better than Riddle Order in terms of trying to get out and make it out with that last character, but unfortunately, can't quite get there. I mean, you know, we're talking about like throwing the Arc Star at your feet to get away. Like it's something that pro players are really good at. I got to say, that's one of the small things I've noticed just lately about like M&K advantage, right? Being able to someone that's trying to get away. Just being able to chain movement, be able to like say 180 in the air, throw a grenade at your feet, 180 again, keep going, jump, sliding, tap strafing, whatever you need to do to try and get away. It's one of those spots where having the access to that extra movement on M&K can actually give you an advantage over the control players.
And that's sensitivity, right, too?
Yes,
like that's
exactly.
that big advantage. Usually you'll have the players playing on 4-3 linear out here, and so hey, it's great. But in a situation like that, I definitely agree with you, Gino. You get the other hand too, where you get the Skynade instead setting up where they're chasing you, but that's with a little bit of more distance, right, than what we saw right there from EXO.
Yeah.
Very difficult. I mean, also we saw that with the zone pulling in and the positioning that Virtue was sitting over by Divide. Get little hellos here from our squads, but kind of feeling yourself being gate-kept here into that next zone. We could expect a lot of these squads coming in from the north side, but not just that, as well as the west side of this zone. As we take a look at the stats, while we get ready here, SGB with 32 points, but I want to look at that cutoff. Look how many teams are currently tied with 21 points, and we still have one more game to go, Gino.
Yeah, one and a bit, right? And I guess something I really want to lay out here while we've got a little bit of time just waiting for this pause to get resolved here, Vicky, is that dropping down in a series can have dire consequences for the rest of your tournament here in New Orleans, okay? So if you go down to the elimination bracket, that means in every series you play from now on, there are going to be, not every series, but most of the series, there will be teams dropping down from the winners bracket, right? And you will never have better than 11th draft on the POI versus those teams. You can still make it to match point finals from here, but even in there, the best you can possibly do is 11th tick in the POIs. So a single loss, just a single blip, even if you are the best teams, you know, if you had an LG or a VP here drop down, you know, whether you were Falcons or Shopify or whoever it might be, if they have one bad series, that can have big ramifications for the rest of their tournament.
Never would I think out here, Gino, that we would have a double Elim style bracket. Kind of going back to my roots out here, seeing what the possible like comeback potential that we could have. But this circle is closing all the way to the right side. I hear the beams over in the feed right now too.
Now this is fascinating, right? Because we saw teams at different points throughout this game, they were going 50-50. Some were Divide, some were Terraformer. Then we saw the next circle. All of a sudden, all the teams say, oh, okay, I think this is Terraformer circle now. Unfortunately, they're all wrong. As we kept saying, because it was very 50-50 over the middle of that mountain range, could still swing either way, and it's gone towards SGB.
You know that SGB and DXA are having a ball day. Well, Oxygen None area, though, get eliminated. It's up to NoseFox right now. Leica being on the Mad Maggie, sliding in, trying to look at them in their positioning, but hiding behind two of those knockdown shields. They are out of there. Do not want any business with this, taking that Portal Nexus and allowing NoseFox to try to go in for the reset here of the res.
There is still a sliver on the southern side of the mountains where teams can rotate down by, so that's actually quite important. It means you don't have to take zone damage. It means you don't necessarily have to do, you know, one of those risky evac rotates that we were talking about over the top of the mountain. So still some options for the teams if they can recognize that and try and play for the southern part of the map, and then come up against teams like Virtus Pro, who are currently playing massive. They are extremely spread out, the three players. Hopefully that doesn't go awry for them like it did in the previous game.
I was actually going to highlight VP's positioning too, because they also are in a position where it's the less traction that they would face against other teams. South side, nobody's in the middle of their rotate, but also if the zone happened to pull over to the left side of the mountain, then they could still go through that pathway that you were talking about, the choke, since they were playing spread out, trying to see if they could do a pathing, because they also, I believe, have a Portal Nexus over to the south side, so if other players from VP need to go there, they can, and they're not the only ones. Soda now moving in.
Yeah, it looks like they've got two set up. One down where you said on the zip line, and then one in a safer position over to the east. And I think that's, again, one of those things that teams are learning to do with Alta, is to really spread out your Void Nexuses and just have, you know, plan ahead with them, essentially. Is Legion Gaming go in here against No Surrender?
Oh man, but with the round 3 closing in right here too, Legion, they clean up No Surrender, but playing on the edge of that zone, you have to imagine third-party opportunity, maybe from Virtue that we know that we're over to the right, but they actually don't like that position. They disengage, they go right back to what looked like their portal here, and Legion Gaming are going to be able to get the reset, but they lost out on one in the process.
Okay, so it's just been revealed to most of these teams that the zone will be switching over to the east side of the mountains. Of course, we've known for a little while now, but for these teams, it's just dawned on them. And now you can see the teams on the west side, they're starting to send each other because they know otherwise they're all going to their doom if they try and crush through that tiny south side of the map at the same time.
And Soda's ready to gatekeep too, right? So they're going to be shooting at all the squads that are going to be going into their line of sight, while Unleash looking at O2 trying to go in for a res, sliding into, and they're not the only ones. It's also FWG and RTS that could shoot at them from afar. Oh, but he goes down. Dig Vibes unfortunately can't make it back on time to the rest of his team.
Teams portaling in. Fuse ults going down, nades getting thrown. They don't want any teams to be able to pop there on that res beacon. Thermite starts ticking away, but do RTS really want to push this when there's still two other teams looking at them?
And not even just that, but Soden too, as a duo, leaving 1/3 of Soden to be on the south side of that next zone, who's being looked at by DXA. RTS though, sliding in after getting that knock, but the slow down the Watts fences, not helping them out. RTS get eliminated. Unleashed with only Dig Vibes alive, right alongside O2, who were not able to get the res just yet, but still staying alive. Soda now move in. They take the Portal Nexus to go right back to their third, who was the Ultra waiting for them on the other side of the choke.
Yeah, so Soten looking for a couple of kills. I think they could have actually played that a little bit later and just tried to force every single team to slow down, fight, and die on that west side. They actually portal back into the zone to try and look at FWG right now as he tries to kill that last remaining member of Dig Vibes of Unleashed.
And that's Soden actually saying that they know they can't get into the next zone, so they would rather get KP to put themselves up higher. Unleashed get eliminated, and they slide in to look at FWG and O2.
I mean, they know they're dead, so the Alta players are literally just looking along the cliff trying to say, I really hope there's a 30-meter passage here that I can get through. I got bad news for you, buddy. There isn't one.
Yeah, you can't do that. Sorry.
So now every team on the west side, including Soten, who overplayed their hand, has gone down. While all that was happening, the teams on the other side were having cheese boards. They were sitting down at the picnics, you know, just singing Kumbaya there. But now it's time to get back to business, and Virtue will take on Legion Gaming.
And the teams that are tired of holding position now move in to try to see if they can get any KP. VP being one of them, looking to see if they get third-party Legion Gaming after they were able to take out Virtue, but seeing that they're going to try to back out, make sure that no other squad tries to move up into where that next zone could be pulling. They know where they have to hold wide, because DXA also were trying to take a fight versus SGB.
Yeah, those guys sitting in the building at the moment. Virtus Pro sort of trying to play on the outside, and then Legion Gaming, well, you can see they're sort of below the building in that choke right now. But they're going to get looked at by DXA, who seem to have taken over the roof.
While being on the roof, though, you have to imagine the teams that were right below you. We still have 2 altars left in this lobby, and SGB being the team that we saw with the lifeline. To imagine, you don't want a team overlooking your heads if you have that lifeline ult.
I think the big question here is that, do Virtus Pro have enough cover? Because they've got the whole outside to themselves now, essentially. Do they have enough cover to hide from the teams up the top here who are doing damage to them, like Nico? Can they wait it out for long enough for these 2 teams, other 3 teams now that are really clustered around the building? Okay, yeah, probably below this bridge. All right, Virtus Pro here against the rest of the world. Let's listen into them at the end of this game.
I got one.
Nice. I'm gonna make it.
The other 2 teams are fighting. They might be fighting Lou. You should be looking, Lou. There's a rat over here. Rat,
Can we try to get this bit?
Bro. Oh, not a rat. I just kidding. I'm taking TV. There should be no rats. It's all full teams. Slayer, you might die in the back.
Pushing you, Zach.
Oh, no, behind, guys, behind.
Pushing you, Zach. I'm playing for this fight, Zach, on you.
Did you hear that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, they said, do we want it to the end?
They're seeing me. Stunned him. Nice.
Oh, even with the shield swap, though, they get taken out. They knew it was inevitable. They knew the third party was going to slide in as Virtus Pro get eliminated. DXA now move into the low ground.
So because Legion didn't have as solid a position there around the building, they decided to take their chances and actually take the fight to VP on the outside. Turns out to be a smart decision. They win it, and now they are essentially in the shoes of what we were just explaining about VP's position.
And most importantly, too, when I was looking at the squads that were left in this final zone, the 2 teams that were waiting patiently in those buildings up on the high ground are full blue Evos, while the squads on the low ground had the full purple Evos, so still slight advantage here for them to work off of.
About the smallest ash portal I've ever seen. Really worried about traversing that 10 meters of ground there. But hey, why take a chance?
DXA hold the other angle looking at Legion. They cannot reveal themselves beyond this rock, though, because SGB will have them in their line of sights before this next zone starts closing in now.
And I love this call from DXA, right? They've said, well, if we stay into the building for too long, we'll just get forced into an ugly fight with SGB. So they play this proactively and go out, find a little bit of cover behind that rock.
You also saw the ping there. The ultimate accelerator being pinged for DXA because they have a seer, so they will have that dome so that with the exhibit will allow them to see where everybody is once everyone's forced to drop down and collapse.
Yeah, exactly. One of the only teams to be bringing that in at this late stage in the series. We've been seeing him just pop up just a little bit. SGB, okay, interesting. It's a very aggressive, well, not aggressive, but proactive lifeline ultimate here, just to give them some cover. Remember, indestructible cover. The only way you can really get in there is with Skynades, but they've also got the Watson.
All right, Plex is getting a little bit too aggressive here, too, with the Ash Portal. They fully dive down, though. They see the opportunity from Legion. They fully commit, and DXA just walk in to take the game. Your game number 5 winners as the patience indeed pays off.
I mean, DXA, like straight up, just counting their blessings at the end of that one. I mean, you really couldn't have it handed to you any better than that. You got 3 teams, Mexican standoff essentially, and the other 2 just point their second gun at each other instead of you, and you've got free fire on them. It was a rough spot for the Lifeline team. I mean, I don't know, maybe they could have... This is, like, seconds matter in these end games, right, Vicky? And sometimes the other 2 teams, they weren't really focusing that hard on the Lifeline team, and at that point, it's like, because they popped it, I think, essentially before they'd taken any damage, you know? Maybe you just need to be so on the button with it that you can wait until you've taken a little bit of damage, and that buys you an extra 5 or 10 seconds, and that maybe pushes those other teams into conflict with each other instead of themselves.
It's crazy. We also saw the the altar portal at the very end there that also was repositioning another player that forced them to get beamed right off the rip before going right back. As we take a look at the match results, 4KP going in favor for DXA. Second place, we see SGB, the 2 teams that we saw holding up on the top of that high ground, while third place, Legion Gaming coming in with 8KP.
Yes, good stuff there from DXA. This is their first time at LAN. I saw Lockie on the plane over here, actually, from Australia. He was just a viewer in Sapporo, but now he is here playing and putting his best foot forward to see if he can be one of the newest teams, one of those breakout stars that we were talking about to go forward in the New Orleans ALGS Open.
That's such a good feeling, having the opportunity to put yourself on board after watching Champs 2. This is what the ALGS Open is all about. It's great. It's great to see how a lot of these squads have been able to also be very flexible with the different legend compositions too. We saw a lot of Ashe coming in. We see a lot of different opportunities for Lifeline teams here too. But we have more action coming to you soon for game number 6, our final game here on Broken Moon.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Sony InZone's 27-inch M10S gaming monitor is tournament ready. Co-developed with Fnatic, it boasts a 480 Hz refresh rate with up to 0.03 millisecond response time, allowing you to quickly spot and track enemy movements. Combine that with the 4mm small footprint base, and you've got a monitor that is as ready for competition at home as it is on the ALGS big stage. That is what our pros are playing on for today, and it shows here with the way that the action has played out here within our first series.
LG, an incredible mid-series, but then they go down first in our game 5. I mean, I thought they were going to be a guaranteed 100 points after dropping yeah, I didn't do the math, but it was close to 50 kills in 3 games. Now they've just got 1 game left to do that.
Well, that's kind of the benefit, right? When you already know where you're situated, or like half the way through the series, take a little bit of a lax break. You don't have to stress out too much. We have the final game, but we know that they have such a hard gap between the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, at 88 points still, even though they got 0 in Game 5, they are still that far ahead of the rest of this lobby. Almost certainly guaranteed that first seed in the POI draft going into the winners bracket round 2.
I do want to highlight, though, looking at Broken Moon, looking what our last final circle had, that gigantic pool, it also showed the risk and reward that a lot of teams wanted to take, whether they wanted to balance out and weigh out whether the KP was worth it versus the placement, if they knew that they were already going to get eliminated and circle kept by the teams that were there first.
Yeah, and you can see teams are still getting their feet under them as well. You know, I think that was exemplified by Soten in that last game, who were really going back and forth, both literally and metaphorically, you know, through their Void Nexuses, but also in their decision-making of whether they should play for KP and try and gatekeep those teams on the west side, or whether they should just play it safe and try and work their way in from the southern end of the map. And yeah, it didn't work out for them at all in the end. They sort of got caught between those 2 decision-making points, and they kind of ended up with nothing in the end. Soten, of course, is a team that did catch our eye a bit in some of the first weeks of Pro League in APAC North. A bit of a yo-yo, right? And we have seen this across many of the regions where they got a win. They actually took out a Pro League day and got the full 25 points, and then crashed and burned in the next one, right? So it's interesting to see if, you know, these teams can find that consistency that they will need to do well here in the ALGS Open, because as we were just explaining before, Vicky, any lapse in consistency, a single series, could have dire consequences for the rest of the tournament here.
Yeah, you know, one of the teams that we just highlighted right there as the camera flew by was Noah's Fox, who currently, I believe in that last game got 11th place, but currently sitting in top 3, sitting in 3rd place with 45 points. We mentioned that big gap between LG and the rest of the lobby, but it is our top 10 squads that will continue moving on through the winners bracket, whereas our last 8 squads in this lobby will be moving down over to the losers bracket. And with 1 game to go, Genome, we saw, I believe it was Ash that had gotten banned for our final game. It's interesting because we've been seeing a lot of interesting plays as well from the fuses, from the altars now going into the final game of Broken Moon. Yeah,
and you know, obviously there's 4 lobbies being played in this arena right now. And we're also going to have teams going home today, right? That hasn't been a case in Apex LAN before. You can actually get day 1 here. I think it'll be something like 12 teams. So it will be heading home after we play the first elimination bracket matches at the end of today. So yeah, look, potentially some of these teams here, if they drop down in that bottom 10, could be them.
I'm happy that you bring that up, and Graceful worded it perfectly during our show open, where you have a lot of teams now feeling that pressure, whereas in normal ALGS format, you don't really have to stress out about that day 1, but you do here in the ALGS Open.
Yeah, because yeah, if we're talking about like, you know, one series is going to, you know, have ramifications for your POI draft, it's not even just that, right? It's, you know, you could, exactly, in group stage, you had 3 series. You could have a bad one and then come back in the last 2 to make up for that. There is no making up for dropping down into the elimination bracket. That's one of your 2 lives gone, and it's not coming back. There is no mushroom to pick up here, man.
There's nothing to redeem yourself here at that point. That's what this double elimination bracket is all about. Game number 6 for our first series underway here on Broken Moon. And it's been fantastic. A breath of fresh air to see another map here in rotation for our ALGS. And seeing a lot of these teams have had to adjust around these legend bands. Again, no Ash for our final game here. So I'm seeing a good amount of altars instead of lots of fuses. See the Mad Maggies out here as well as Bangalore.
So yep, as you can see, Ash banned out. That's another change in our lineups, and it's actually quite cool to see Alta survive to Game 6, and that's probably partly because it's a Storm Point Broken Moon combo here. It does, of course, mean, oh, we've finally got a Valk in the lobby. RTS have picked that up. And yeah, I guess the other thing it means is that when we get down to these Game 6s, and even beyond, let's just think ahead. Think ahead to Sunday for a second. Be thinking match point. These games are going to get so catalyst, these legends that allow you to cut off space, to create space, to warp space, or to take it away from other people in the case of crypto, right? And once you sort of remove these legends, it kind of comes back to its roots, right? And you get this really sort of just fresh, you know, like naked Apex almost, where it's just about fragging out. It's about taking space with your guns, with your bullets, and your damage against other people. And that's why I think it's just going to be so exciting, not only when we get to the end of a series like this, but once we get into those later games in the match point finals on Sunday. It's going to favor the teams who are the most aggressive and who are just good at Apex at a base level.
I can't wait. Like, I can't wait for Pathfinder, Lifeline, and Octane to just win the ALGS Open up. That match point final is going to be insane. Honestly, I just get excited thinking about it.
A grapple in with the PK to win, please.
Off like a jump pad or whatever, just grapple in right afterwards, like doing some fresh movement. Oh man, I mean the possibilities are endless. I don't expect the Oxygen to be out here, but I do expect the Oxygen to keep it up. For Oxygen though, being on that rampart, the P2020s are not enough when you're the last one alive against a squad that we highlighted before diving into this final game. Those Fox.
Oxygen none area do go out. You can see, you know, doesn't have the purple perk on the Wraith. You don't have the reduced wind-up time on the Into the Void, and that means Wraith can't get the tactical off quickly enough and does go down. Their counterparts in a way, I guess. O2 Esports still in the game, however. Have you noticed how similar the Void Nexus like console thing that you use is very similar to alt accelerants?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it does. Yeah, I agree.
Like, what's going on there?
That, and when you grab your teammates' banners too off of the respawns, right?
Is there some sort of like lore reason for that?
Okay, I guess we gotta find out, right? Dive into a lot of
the... Is there a dev here that we can ask?
the stories of Outlands out here. But Legion Gaming also in some trouble, it looks like. Talking about dancing around the altar portals instead. Holding up on top of the zip line for now after losing out on Plexes. Oh, before Luke comes in, though, he's one shot. He still gets the knock, leaving only one from Legion. VP now. Zach losing out on his shield, but it's fine with all three members of VP swinging in. They take out Legion Gaming.
Nice. That's another couple of KP there for Virtus Pro, who are, look, they're sitting fine. They're in 5th place, 42 points, right? I don't think they're at any risk of dropping down here. If you're looking at sort of, you know, teams on the bubble, a team like EXO, who's currently in 8th place with 33 points, they might be a little bit worried about this final game and potentially having that drop-down issue we were mentioning.
That would be crazy, crazy look, because then they would have to play through that loser's bracket the entire rest of the tournament, and this is the day that you don't want to start that because you also play more.
Exactly, right? Like in previous ALGS lands, you would play 5 or maybe 6 if you had to do both elimination brackets. In this tournament, if you lose in first round and then somehow make it all the way to match point finals, I think you're playing something like 8 series. Ooh. So you have to play 2 series a day, every single day. And I can tell you, 12 games of Apex when you are coming your hardest, playing your heart out at the top level, it takes a toll on you. It really does.
Gotta keep yourself fresh out here, mentally and physically, as we see SGB now. The portal rotate. They know where that next circle is pulling to. They have the Watson. They're gonna be playing on the south side of that next circle zone, and they're not the only ones. We see so many teams already moving their way through Hazmat Tunnel over to the north side of Terraformer. Nemesis had already gotten a knock onto Sotin. They're trying to overextend here too. They want to get right back onto the high ground altogether, seeing that Sotin had backed up all the way around. But Nemesis now seeing that they've cleared up this entire side.
Actually, yeah, thinking about this, Nemesis are a team that I'd like to keep my eye on in this last game. Currently sitting at 20 points. They had a Pro League win, so for them to drop down this quickly would actually be quite a surprise.
Really tight there on the bubble. VP now flying in. Double purple for them to work with, Slayer being on that blue Evo. Seeing that Riddle Order were ahead of them, I also heard an evac tower sound like from a distance, so Riddle Order may have been getting chased by Virtus Pro here. They're playing split up now. believe 2 members of VP north of Alpha Base, but thankfully with Riddle Order having that portal nexus, they could try to reposition here and try to escape VP just trying to send it down.
Virtus.pro currently trying to end Riddle Order's chances of making a comeback here. Of course, they'd need 20-odd points to even do this, so it would have to be a hell of a game from Riddle, but at this point, with VP on their backs, seeming unlikely. Noise Fox. Looks like they'll have to go through FWG. Not sure if either of those teams have scanned the survey beacon yet, in terms of giving them information about the fact that this could be an isolated fight if they really do want to take that over here at Quarantine Zone, or the fact that perhaps LG is waiting in Hazmat Tunnel, one of the best gatekeeping areas in this entire map, in terms of farming up a storm yet again.
Yeah, especially if you hear a team in there, you would rather go through that southern choke that's uphill, exiting out of Quarantine Zone. Still really risky, depending if there's other teams that are holding that uphill choke that you could find yourself rotating into Terraformer. But with FWG being ahead of them, they had the survey beacon and the ring console, so they already noted that Nosefox could be coming in from right behind them. And still, the 2 teams facing off against each other by Cliffside is Riddle Order and VP. Oh, huge here as they get the knock here onto Meltstera.
Slayer considering whether to use the Motherload. Says no, it's probably just going to block off their entry into this fight. Oh! Last second hit onto the Void Nexus there. Riddle Order will actually get the reset. The question is, do Virtus.pro? No, they don't want to take the Void Passage behind them. Of course, it does leave behind a channel for you to follow the team. But hey, there's a zip line going directly to their building, so why not make the safer play?
Yeah, it's way too risky, right? Even if you're feeling yourself, even if you're getting the cracks that you need, the damage output in general, it takes a little bit of time before that portal appears, and it gives the other squad some time to reset, at least get the res, and then watch the portal too, especially since only 2 members were still alive and they just needed to get 1 res.
Yeah. Yeah, one can hold, one can res. Easily done there for Riddle Order. Oh, it's certainly not going to be an easy route for them back into this next zone. Plenty of teams in between them and a chance at redemption here in Game 6.
It is round 2 here, so if they want to take a much more roundabout rotate into the outskirts of that next zone, it'd take a long time, but with the accelerated zip lines could absolutely do it, and maybe hear a third party in the distance, but they want to try to keep going, as FWG also want to keep going, trying to see if they can find some space on the outskirts of this building. They were trying to take this fight through the altar portal. Dark incredibly low. He slides down the bamboozling. He goes off to the other side, but he leaves his teammates behind. Voodoo now gets on top of the high ground. You can see the pings here, leaving him low.
Yep, Mirage once again back into Apex competitive. I say once again because, well, I think last LAN was the only time we've ever seen him. But yeah, now with that, the new Renaissance Man perk, you know, when you're lacking a lot of other options towards the end of a series, yeah, Mirage can be huge.
Comes in clutch for moments like this. Laka's gonna get rezzed. Also, you got that subtle healing over time too from the support legends. Helps him get the reset even quicker, just in case there was a third party out in the distance. FWG did manage to get away, by the way. They had put down the portal nexus when we saw the altar player see a losing situation. Instead of trying to take that fight, even if they left one of members of Nosefox 1, they didn't want to risk it. So now they're going to be forced to play outside of zone. They have a replicator right there in Quarantine Zone and can get their teammate back.
Well, it's not Rambo, but it is Rambro going down to Virtus.pro. And Riddle Esports, yep, completely down and out now as Virtus.pro look for other targets in their gatekeeping efforts. Just want to get this last member now of Virtue. There we go, another couple of points, pushing them up from 5th into 3rd place now. But FWG are actually coming in on the long rotate, as was mentioned. And there's even a Mythic bin ahead of them. So Virtus.pro are hoping to probably get back to that. We saw them with the Red Armors, the Krabers in earlier games. They're looking to play for that once again. The question is, do other teams contest them for it? Because there is a single member of O2 Esports actually heading up towards there now.
And this could be so detrimental because O2 is one of your squads that are in 10th place overall with 27 points. So lose out on a member to commit to the Mythic bin could be so incredibly risky now that all members of VP are coming in. They got it.
They got it first.
The Mythic bin, but he still has to get away. Maybe he's got the portal nexus today. He could just rotate to instead.
Oh,
he does. He gets away.
The red helmet basically saves him there. I mean, he was just thereabouts on 25 health, which is, you know, the extra health you're getting from that helmet. I don't know how many of the weapons he managed to grab. He'll probably leave a couple of those for Virtus Pro, but he did at the very least get the Evo upgrades. Of course, you know, we can, in this meta, it's easier than ever to get your team onto full purple, but if they haven't got there yet, if they've been playing safely, of course, you do get that free upgrade from blue to purple.
It's so entertaining to see the moves with the Altar, right? Not only having one of your teammates just put themselves out there and they could just take the Altar Portal Nexus instead. It allows you to just cover so many POIs since you have two active at the same time. VP now coming in from the north side of the edge of the zone. O2 looking at them, backing away still towards that other Portal Nexus. It looks like NoseFox now for Rufa. He's going to be able to get that knock with the Evo 8. Seeing the feed, Shubi with the G7 also getting a knock himself. They're going to be able to get that res, and the Mirage really coming in clutch once again for this squad.
Tunnel not in at all anymore, though, so LG... they're going to have to move out, and they're going to have to move out right now, and you can see there's a crossfire between Soten and NoiseFox here, covering the entrance. Well, currently, they're a little bit occupied with each other, but as soon as LG comes out, surely the crosshairs just snap onto them immediately.
Well, LG was doing the gatekeeping. Now they have to deal being the ham in the middle of the sandwich here because NoseFox are on the north side. You have Soden to worry about on the south side here of Hazmat Tunnel. And we know that LG were here for quite some time. So they just want to risk trying to take some circle damage, rotate around them if they have the opportunity. It'll be very difficult for them to deal with.
You're seeing this kill feed?
Is blowing up. 10 squads left just like that. EXO get eliminated. Laganov slides in with still being aware that there could be a squad that could rotate right behind them here, being LG. Oh, but he needs some help for Rufa. Gets sent down, but beautiful shots from afar here as they are going to be able to take him out. And Virtus Pro now move in. They heard the fighting. They want to come in for a third party, but good timing on NoseFox to completely eliminate this squad and as they try to go for the reset too.
Yeah, NoseFox, they managed to fully kill both of those other teams, but as they're doing it, Virtus Pro are having a look. They actually ended up taking down 2 of the members of O2 Esports. One is still ratting in the building that Virtus Pro are in. I guess they don't know that they're there. Obviously, you know, no heartbeat sensor, no seer on the team to be able to tell those kind of things. Bloodhound long gone. But they do have the circle. They've been able to grab the red helmets, all of that mythic loot that came out of the mythic bin. And Virtus Pro, it feels very similar to the situation we saw 2 games ago, Vicky, but this time they don't even need to clear their back. There's no one else that they should have to worry about. Everyone should be coming to them, and I feel like this is a much stronger position from VP to close out this series in.
Yeah, and we have 2 squads that are unfinished, right? 2 rats in this lobby between O2 and LG, who at least still managed to stay alive.
Yeah, I may have said full kill. I guess one of them dipped back out into the tunnel and then came back because there is still the Bangalore alive for LG right now.
Or is there?
But it's
question here from Shubi.
It's pretty unlikely that Shubi's going to get his team to that 100 points that looked so inevitable just a scant few games ago.
Oh, but with Unleash actually making appearance in front of NoseFox, LG still has a solo, may be able to sneak up from right behind them. They're going to try to engage right now. The last member of Unleash taking the portal, the Wraith portal all the way around, while RTS now fly into that next zone. DXA, most hated, are going to eventually have to collapse on each other, while VP, like you said, uncontested on the north side, looking at both of these fights happening without giving up that northern space.
Oh, teams are congregating on NoiseFox, though, with RTS and Unleash behind them. They can only sit behind these knockdown shields for so long before they get blasted down.
Oh, man, but NoseFox dropping down with only Rufa being alive. Getting taken out at the very end. RTS, though, getting beamed. Looking at the squad that's on the low ground, the P20s just continue ringing. Bazaar gets taken out as he tries to fly to reposition himself.
Void Nexus getting taken there. That's Virtus Pro actually moving back to safety as RTS go down. Shuby's still alive, by the way, just hiding in smoke this whole time, I guess. But as he tries to run away from Unleash, he does draw the attention of DXA. And now just look at this, as the smoke fades, trying to find whatever cover he can to stay alive. But he's managed to make it to top 4.
Top 4, he still has at least 1 KP for his squad out here too. LG sitting in first place with 94 total points. Second place with a gap of 60 points to highlight what LG has been doing. Incredible as DXA try to take a shot with the Kraber. A little bit of a haircut, misses out.
No ballistic available, only the shots in the chamber available to Lockie.
Get all the information with the exhibit, but having to be careful with the nades hurtled in his direction. Oh, he's one shot. The knuckle cluster is enough. That's why we've been seeing so many fuses here to lobby like this. Nico is the next one to go out. DXA with a hurdle of nades set in their direction get taken on. Shuby is still alive, and now he's got the high ground.
Oh my god, and he almost manages to grief one of the VP players here. He's got the Kraber. He's picked that up off Lockie's body, and with 5 bullets left, is there chaos left for Shuby to go? He goes for it! He hits the 360! Oh! Where have we seen that before, Vicky?
Oh my, and every ALGS lad, you know you always gotta tug at my heartstrings a little bit with a 360. No scope here on the Kraber. Shuby did what he had to do, but it is Unleash walking in, being in 5th place now after getting that dub and getting the KP that they need at the end of our series. Your Game 6 winners.
Virtus Pro actually managed to pick up 18 kills in that last game. It's fun to see. I guess we're kind of not used to these sort of lobbies mixing together at LANs just yet, Vicky, right? Because this is probably going to be happening in all of the lobbies. We only got to check some of the initial scores before we came on to cast this series, obviously, but there were some big players in the other lobbies. I think we saw Falcons picking up, 30, 40 points just in their first couple of games. Shopify in a similar situation, and it's no surprise that titans of industry like Virtus Pro and LG are doing the same over here. Noise Fox even, 10 kills for them. That's a solid finish to the series. But then obviously, we're going to be seeing a couple of teams heading down to the elimination bracket after this, and some of them will be the ones who have failed to close out the series in style. Exo Clan, Riddle Order. I think Legion Gaming maybe had enough previously. Even Team Nemesis with only 3 points for them.
And looking at the series results, look at the difference between the bubble team RTS and O2 Esports. They had 30 total points, RTS with 31. It would have taken that 1 KP to prevent the gauntlet of a run you're going to have to now do in that elimination bracket. Again, we highlighted before, it's a lot more games that you have to play. You have to have the tenacity to really push through. But looking also at the gap that we've had from LG, 97 total points. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm not really surprised. I knew that they were going to be able to frag out, but it was more so the ability to apply it into going from Storm Point into Broken Moon, staying consistent no matter what map we're playing on, and then VP being behind them. I believe it was 66 points.
I mean, Shuby's like memeing there at the end, and he still almost got them onto 100 points with that incredible last effort. But yeah, look, honestly, good job to them. Exo Clan do squeak through. But yeah, a couple of big names already being casualties like Team Nemesis and Riddle Order.
Yeah, it's been incredible. I mean, you guys look a little too comfy out there on the couch after the action that we just had here within our first series. I want to hear a little thoughts from you guys because it's been crazy out here already. Just kick off the action.
Well, the biggest topic of the day for sure outside of did LG now get 100 points is obviously 100 men versus 1 gorilla. We have to, we had to finish that conversation in the green room. We'll let you talk about it in Twitch chat right now. It's kind of the trending topic, but right now we also see the team that is close enough to proving that they are the winners amongst all challengers has been LG, and it's been a performance that while I could have said, oh, great, they've got charisma and they've got this connection as a team that has proven to be great in year 4, slowed down a little bit at the start of year 5, they feel like they're right back in form.
Yeah, I mean, the important thing is that, they're used to being able to get into top 10, top 5 situations. It's always just been harder in a lobby state where there are a lot of very strong teams around you playing for center zone. This time around, they know that they can play the edge a little bit more. When the zones pull away for them, they actually welcome that one in. They walk these fights. They walk these fights down on a lot of these teams right now, and they were able to really capitalize off that. I mean, we're used to seeing them with, a 5 KP, 5 KP win, right? 17 points in a game. That's really respectable, right? But now they're dropping bombs on fools.
Graceful, we had this conversation. We were talking about a team earlier, and we said, how do you feel this player is in terms of their level across, the Apex Legends professional talent scene? Some are, you look at that player and get, he's pretty in the ballpark of most players. This player is exceptional. Where does Shuby stand for you? Because some of those Kraber shots, the way he's been performing, it's been a big difference maker for LG.
He even won that game as well, It came down to a 1v1 and he clutched it. So Shuby has been a hot topic. He kind of started up as an up-and-coming, and then he came to now he's nothing special, and now he's just the talk. Everybody talks about him because he is that exceptional. He's been showing that he can prove it on the big stage, and he's been popping off. And when you have this, performance that you keeping to the same level over and over across all lobbies, not only in Pro League but also here in the early stages, if you can keep that momentum, that's when you become essentially into the Hall of Fame at some point.
But what you're saying is Shuby's not there yet. He really hasn't done enough, right, Grace? He's just not at that level.
I would say he is on the way, and with clutch like that game, it could be on his way properly. Wait, whoa,
Shuby!
Wait, he's here!
Grace was talking mad trash just now, Shuby. No, just kidding, man. Congratulations on the set. I mean, that was an amazing series. I did think you guys were going to win, but I want to hear your thoughts on why, because my thought was about experience and the fact that you guys, in a tournament where there's so many new faces and new challenges, new things, legend bands, the fact that you guys were together and have been one of the more consistent teams throughout these environments meant you could handle this. What do you think was the difference for you today in terms of your guys' performance?
Well, we didn't do really too good in Japan because it just our confidence wasn't the greatest. And so every scrims that we've been playing, we've just kind of been wanted to play together more, play grouped up more, and kind of just we need to just talk to each other more and trust each other. And so that's kind of what we worked on building up to this. And I mean, it really just showed. We won 3 games in a row. Didn't have the greatest first game, but I mean, we just wanted to play with confidence, and there it is.
Did that carry through some of the things like Broken Moon being added as well? I noticed you guys won a game on that map. I mean, that's something that shows a lot of versatility coming out of this tournament.
We were kind of scared with Broken Moon getting added because none of us have ever played it in comp. But I mean, I trust my teammates, they trust me. So any map, any meta, any guns, anything. And I think we can just be on top always.
I love your comp. Early on, we actually have a little bit of replay for your wins in Match 2 and Match 4. Talk to me about what you guys liked about going in. Walk us through that moment, because we saw the ballistic action, and most importantly, we saw the clutch, that you were a big part of. Walk us through this moment here.
All right. So we knew right here we had to hold this team out, make sure they didn't wrap behind us, and we ended up killing them. And right there we were playing pretty slow, and Naughty kind of just fed. All good. But this, I knew I whistled him. He only can shoot maybe 8 or 9 bullets. I have to get to him before the whistle goes away. And then I just destroyed him, so it's all good.
How happy did you get when Winnie threw the game by jumping off and into 1v2? Because you were in a 2v3 initially, and then when he jumped too early and you guys just mopped him, did it feel good?
It felt great. I just headbang. I was let's go.
Let's go. It's my game.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, because it's so early on in the group stages, or in the bracket stages here, does it feel much different, especially in terms of the legend compositions you have to flex onto? Because I feel like that Newcastle ban coming in so early might have thrown a wrench into a lot of people's plans.
Yeah, so I mean, with scrims and everything like that, Castle usually has him getting banned, or he's banned first. It's been random, but I mean, like I said, all of us are super confident on any character we play, just as long as they're playing together. I mean, look at this. I don't even play Wraith, maybe 200 kills on her, and I just gotta push people and kill them.
Only 200 kills, bro? Man, I'm flaming you if we get into a quick match together, man. 200 only. He's the oldest character in the game. No, it should be. I think that kind of sets the tone, too, for where we are in the open, at least for me. Everyone watching going, this feels a little different. This looks a little different. On the ground floor, you could feel it, too. But in a way, there's a big benefit to a team like you guys who feel confident now and also can flex to all of these different challenges that are going to be thrown at you. It seems like you've just found a way to adapt early on and keep that momentum going.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like in Japan was just like such a mess up on our end. Like we didn't play the right comp or anything like this. And with like legend bands now, I feel like we're not just stuck playing the same comp that we're not that good at. We can kind of just play, like if we want to play aggressive, all right, we just hop on Ballistic, Fuse, Crypto. If we want to play more slow and rotate, all right, Watson, Ballistic, and all that, you know. I feel really good when I play Ballistic. So
how much we talk about this in the green room too, the pressure to stay in top 10, you know, Jamerson. I'm curious what your take is as well. Like, do you feel that pressure immediately? Normally group stages you can kind of warm up. Is it different now that you know 12 teams are going home, and if you hit losers, bottom 10, you're in losers the entire way, elimination the entire way until you get to finals?
See, I just found that out just now. I didn't realize that. But I guess I guess it's a little scary. But I mean, like, it's really just like if you have a good first game, then you really don't have to worry about the top 10. But if you have a bad first game like we did, it's kind of in the back of your mind, like, oh, we might not do good. But then you just got to flush that out your brain. Just go to game 2. Drop a great game, and that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, and we talked about how there are so many more, variables coming in, and a lot more players having an opportunity now to actually play on the big stage. Are there any teams, any players that you're particularly looking out for, that maybe you're rooting on, or just keeping an eye on?
Yeah,
definitely Falcons and Shopify for sure.
Wow,
for sure, 100%.
I like that. What is it about? Because do you feel that in the same way that maybe you guys in Japan didn't have the best meta? I've spent time with Hal. Obviously, we skydove like 2 weeks ago to get here. Oh, no, sorry, today to get here. And he was saying, yeah, I mean, the fact that I just had to play Newcastle this entire time really did not do me a service. Do you feel that there are a few teams like that who are going to kind of come out of the gates now, show their true potential now that they kind of have the flexibility to play all these legends?
Yeah, I really do think it's going to be some of like the underdog teams, like teams from Challenger Circuit. Yeah, because like there's like Koiful came out of nowhere, right? Then he's just literally one of the best players in the game. It's just a top player, and there's so many Challenger Circuit players like that just have never got the opportunity. Yeah. But now they do because of this open LAN. And I mean, not really any names, but I mean like Panic Apex from Locked In, like him, really good and just like underrated. And I do think, pretty sure they're like winning the other group right now.
Wow. So, we have a little bit more time. I don't want to leave until you and Grace will have settled your beef with him talking trash about you. You got in it. Is there apology, or are you guys cool now?
No, I'm sticking to my word, man. My words, I think that like him as a player himself, has grown a lot over the time, and we've gone through, we let's be honest, especially NA has a lot of up-and-coming players.
Oh, yeah.
And you were definitely like one of the up-and-comings that people probably overlooked for a while until you started showing promise, and now everybody's rooting for you. I don't think there's anybody that dislikes you for any reason at all.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a good thing, and you have been popping off now, and I still consider you also a veteran player because you've been playing for a long time compared to a couple of people that just started a year or two.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I'm so happy. I also played with Naughty before, he's a great guy. His biggest enemy is himself. But once you get past that, he's a demon. And, I think you guys, as us as well, all of you have the best vibes as a team. Like, I would say, like, without a doubt, top 5 best vibes on a team in terms of, like, people look to you, that's how a team should be.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to see you guys succeed with that as well.
Thank you.
It's a great conversation. I'm glad you guys mended. We forced this interaction. Can you speak just before we move on and talk a little bit to somebody else, just on your team, like the dynamic, for those who don't, face it, watch and have you guys up on their monitor, who aren't watching scrims, on your perspective, what is it like, in the back of LG? How do you guys communicate? Anything that kind of about yourselves that you can let everyone else know to be looking out for?
I mean, we definitely have our moments where we just get so mad at each other because, like, Naughty will just, like, throw a game, or, like, I'll throw a game, and we just get so mad. But then we just tell ourselves we cannot let it go to the next game, or we will have a bad time. And that happens a lot in scrims. But, I mean, like, we're feeling really confident with this LAN, and I don't think we'll have any just arguments at all. But, I mean, arguments healthy to an extent.
That's not easy to do, I imagine, not letting that go.
Right? What's the key to like a mental reset then?
Yeah.
Like it looked like you guys had really good vibes up there. I really want to know, what is the key to a good mental reset once you have like a bad match?
Naughty, 100%.
Yeah.
Naughty. He's like, boys, we gotta lock in. We gotta lock in. Stop. We have to you know?
That's a good naughty impression right
Yeah,
there. Man, it's been a lot of fun, Shoop. Thank you so much, and congrats on the win.
Thank you.
We've got Lace standing by in the pit. So, Lace, I hear you are ready, maybe with another interview, or at least to give us an update on what's been going on the other side. Stages.
Yeah, it's been pure passion here in the pit. You know, listen, happening behind us, so there's lots of chaos unfolding. But if we look at Lobby 2, Shopify Rebellion, you know, we know exactly who they are. And they've been leading the charge. I believe they won 2 out of the 6 matches and had immense amount of kills. I believe it was over 40 kills. So there was no one really close to catching them at all for their second lobby. Now, Lobby 3, you probably know Team Falcons absolutely decimated. I believe they had probably over about 100 points themselves. Again, there's some heavy hitting juggernaut teams happening in these lobbies, you know, with some new contenders, a lot coming from CC as well, or, you know, qualifying for this. We obviously had 40 teams that qualified. And yeah, there's some teams that are, you know, finding it a little bit difficult just to get up to there. And we hit Lobby 4. I spoke about them before. It's Team Orchid. Now, they have teams such as 100 Thieves, NIP to compete against, but Team Orchards with you know, Rambo and Hambino leading the charge, Hambino being an absolute blessing as an IGL. I was standing behind them before watching them play their games, and just the immense passion and communication coming from that team, standing up and cheering, and it's absolute blessing to be involved in this. So they have been doing an incredible job against some of the juggernauts. But what we do have at the moment is Aru Army, and we have Ryan here. You know, we've been running around a little bit, Ryan, trying to find out all the fantastic things happening behind us. Now, we have Aru Army here. Why don't you take us through a couple of their games?
Yeah, no, definitely. Of course. You know, I was standing behind them, seeing how passionate they were at every moment on the server. And I've got Sumiyoshi standing by here, of course, the Aru Army team, formerly part of, you know, the Kinotrope crew and, you know, LFG. And, yeah, they're here. And I just want to talk to them a little bit about, you know, what it's like. This is their first huge LAN experience. And I just want to ask him how he's feeling right now. ですね、初めてのLAN経験は今までいかがでしょうか？
初めてのLAN経験。
はい。LAN大会、ここまでのでかいLAN大会ですね。
そうですね。初めてで、こんないい機会もらって、楽しくみんなでプレーできてっていうのが一番なんで、それをできてよかったです。
Yeah, so I asked him, you know, what it's like performing at this colossal LAN for the first time, a huge experience. And for him, it's about performance, it's about playing his regular game, being able to put up the numbers that they've practiced for. And as long as he can do that, he's really happy for the experience and everything that comes with it. So they've been putting up top numbers against really, really strong, developed teams that they've got in their lobby, and it's really impressive to see. You know, of course, FaZe Clan, Shopify Rebellion, no strangers to the big stage, but these guys have been going toe-to-toe with these big giants. So I just want to ask him a little bit about how he feels his performance has been going. 試合終わった後の感想についてちょっと聞きたいんですけど、FaZe Clan とか Shopify Rebellion の先進してる、なんかすごい上達してるチームの中でそばで戦えていい結果を出せる気持ちはいかがでしょうか？
そうですね、楽しみながらも、自分たちのやるべきことをやって、順位も良くて、強いチームとも渡り合えたので、明日もその経験を生かして頑張りたいです。
So, of course, it is definitely something they have noted in their camp. They have been monitoring the top teams, trying to make sure they stay toe-to-toe and rub elbows with the very top, the pinnacle of their group. And they have been very happy with their performance. They've been doing really well. And they're going to be using that motivation tomorrow ahead of their games in their preparation for all the matches to come. I think that's going to be it here for this interview. I'm going to thank him. 明日も頑張ってください。ありがとうございます。見てくれてる方々には一言お願いしていいですか。
はい。応援してくれてるみんなのためにも頑張ります。ありがとうございます。
I asked him for a final comment for all the fans and friends and family watching on live around the world, and he says he wishes that everyone would give them all their cheers, send all their spirit bombs through, and wish them the greatest of successes. I've been Ryan Hart, and we'll see you for the next time.
Thank you, Ryan. You know, he gave us an outro like he's gone for the event. He's going to be here, okay, all day long. That's not the end of Ryan. And thank God, because he's the only one who speaks fluent Japanese. I saw someone say he flipped a switch and became a sensei, just like that. I thought Twitch chat was hilarious. Ben, you're back. Obviously, you were off for the interview, but I want to get your thoughts as we look at some of these series results and kind of the overall take after our first series at the ALGS Open. Your takeaways, obviously dominant from LG, but what is kind of holding space in your mind now as we start to look towards our next two series in the day?
Well, looking at the majority of these results, I will say that you do have your standouts with teams that have made a name for themselves in Pro League, still well and leading the pack, but it's these little hot spots where we do get to see some of these names that, while they have been around the ALGS scene, especially in Challenger Circuit, not just for the last recent bit, but for many years, Infernos, Aru Armies, Empires, these are teams who've been competing in smaller scrims, especially the most recent open scrims coming to this land, but also things like EEC and Oversight, and so many that are now getting the opportunity to show that, hey, Team Inferno can come out with a win in a series result and then finish second overall, just behind big names like Shopify Rebellion, which for I expect a lot of the teams here that are currently in Pro League is quite a bit of a surprise.
Go Next obviously are winners of our last land, but not the Go Next that won that last land. We keep pushing on to some of the other lobbies. Also, take note of which legends were banned and in which order if you want to find something interesting. You probably see most of the same legends banned, but you may see a different order. Usually Catalyst starting this one out again. Ben, it was Falcons all the way. I mean, this is the most kind of stereotypical Falcons expectation, but you know, 99 points is not reasonable to expect from anybody, but it does seem like they found a rhythm starting this one off. That's
Absolutely.
a good sign.
I mean, a fantastic result for them. If you got the opportunity to check it out, sat over there in our exposition area in front of the pit where you actually got to see the Falcons play. I stopped by for the first match and checked out their 5th place finish there, but they had plenty of wins to go alongside it. But like I've said again, Purple Slushy, that's a name in Challenger Circuit, followed by some bigger entities. Game and Gladiators out of EMEA. Red Rams once again reappearing from APAC North, who have been a dominant figure, especially when we come to these lands, also continuing to at least represent.
Love to see, again, all these similar orgs, different teams. You know, Omit looks a little bit different. Obviously, we've seen Reignite before, but let's take a look at this next lobby. This is Lobby 4. I actually thought we were going to show that. We may not. We'll bring it back in a bit, but there is one lobby still going, and they're starting Game 6. So that's one of the things that you have to keep in mind looking at this. This isn't finished, but that team Orchid, I believe that's Rambo's team that they were talking about. An amazing story. He, in that intro, you might have noticed that we started this whole event with. Right around this time last year was now it's the anniversary of Rambo's father passing away. And he said, what I would love to do is, you know, seeing him looking down and knowing he's here with me, perform and kind of show up in a way that I know I can. Clearly, Team Orchid playing really, really well to start. 100 Thieves also been, I mean, just kind of rounding this out. Still one more game left, but it does feel like this is a great start for a team with a lot of support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think for so many of these teams out here, this is one of the most intense proving grounds you will find yourself in. And so for those that can find aggression to highlight, especially here on day one, where you need to carry momentum as best or as possible, because for so many of these teams, we are already now in the purpose of discussing, they've lost, they've fallen into that 11th through 18th place across the board in our series. They don't have an opportunity to lose again here for the rest of the tournament, for every single day that passes, for every single match that they play forward here. They have one last chance, and that number will continue to grow here, especially since I'm pretty sure we are going to be sending away some teams here later this evening.
Yeah, we will. I mean, this is where we start to kind of see where the chips fall. We'll have our first elimination round coming up after all of these rounds are finished, with the bottom 10 or bottom 8 teams going into that to compete. If you do not make it out of that, you're going home.
Yeah, it's a difficult gauntlet. I mean, we know how difficult it is when we go to a normal setting like champs, right? Where, yeah, you do have to play from the lower bracket, but you're not playing this many matches. It's absolutely insane. The things that we're expecting of our players now, we are continuing to add on more and more pressure, more and more variables. The depth of the game here has become so immense. I don't know how, we don't have more players and more teams just drowning under the pressure, but they are like withstanding it right now.
It's unbelievable. Again, you're witnessing history. This is a different style, a different start to our year 5, but it is so fun and innovative. If you want to check out that final game as well, maybe Team Orchid is a story you're now interested in following, rooting on Rambo or 100 Thieves. You want to see those guys play? Well, check it out on faceit.com/watch. That where you can get all your ALGS action your way. Got to give a shout out to Faceit here. Graceful, now we look at a team. 100 Thieves is a team I want to talk about, since they do have that next match coming up, and we're kind of paused on this. How do you feel about this squad? The big story is you've got two teams that kind of split, TSM and the old Dark Zero. Now you've got Jen Burton and Verholst teaming up together. Trying to find it with Phony, who seems to be the IGL everyone wants, but no one can keep at some, at this point. But trying to see if this is finally the secret sauce that will be a long-standing team that wins a lot here in the ALGS. How do you feel about them?
Yeah, I mean, I think Phony has been one of the players that have been considered a villain in the scene for quite a bit, for whatever reason it may be. But he has also shown results with it, and with result comes also respect. And I think Verholst we can't talk enough about. Gimberden we can talk about enough about as well. They're both probably in the range of top 5 fraggers in the entire world, and have proven once and once again in every duel that they will win the fight, right?
Yeah.
So it's a deadly combination, and I think that they are looking to take down their past teammates for sure. It's definitely a rivalry there.
Yeah.
Regardless of you want to cheer for them, when you're up front, but when you're in game, you're looking for them, and I hope we can find something there. It'll be fun.
You can keep track of it all at Play Apex Esports, whether it's on Twitter or X, as it is known now, or twitch.tv/PlayApex on Twitch, and of course Play Apex Esports on YouTube. We'll be back with so much more action here at the ALGS Open. We're just getting started. Series 1 is complete. Series 2, after a short break, will be on your screens in a bit.
KP that they need at the end of our series.
Being called a prodigy isn't easy. The pressure, the expectations. Nah, I'm just kidding. I was born for this. determination, a lifetime of practice, and a total lack of media training.
Success, it don't come overnight. Just watch me put up a fight. Locked in, I'm feeling cold as ice.
Move.
I don't know how to slow down.
Find my target. Time to say ciao.
Doing work on a holdout. It's looking like it's a blowout.
More eyes on you means less on me.
Putting in audio with top. Making my way up to the top.
Sing it out.
The first in line, the next in line. I can't deny I've been.
I'm in the games, I'm on your screens, and now I'm on billboards? Oh, check this out. Che figata!
It's looking like it's a blowout. Putting in audio with top. Making my way up to the top.
Coming in hot.
The first in line, the next in line. I can't deny.
Later, champ.
Here I go. Do it again. Surprise. Woohoo! High five! Go! I didn't know I'd end up here, but I do know how it ends.
Yeah.
I've heard losing builds character. Let me know how that goes.
Been waiting my whole life for this. Yeah. Been getting so right for this. Hey. Been waiting my whole life.
Hey, ragazzi, we did it.
Pay attention.
Apex Legends Year 4 Split 1 playoffs just finished in Los Angeles, California. 4 days full of the highest level of competitive Apex, including hype moments.
Can we get it thanks to the lifeline here?
Here's the tap!
It doesn't go through, and now, oh, is this really happening?
Dash with the gold knockdown shield comes back up! Roller in hand! He can do it! Cloud9 are down!
Spicy contests. Records being shattered.
Through the smoke, Dark Zero comes for all of them! It's Sykes and Zero up against the last member of Legends, and Dark Zero go back to back to back!
And finally, a new champion being crowned.
As all of Reject Winity find themselves at Red Evos! It's a massive moment for Apex! It's a huge moment for Apex North!
To begin the Split 1 playoffs, we start in the group stages as 07 wins the first set, picking up 32 points in Game 3.
I mean, Naski's having a monster game right now, by the way. He's got 8 kills! 8 kills to his name! And he's looking for more as well. 2 more shots with the Kraber. Oh, 252! It's another one for Naski! This could be 07's game. Remember how well they were fighting earlier. They still are fighting with that momentum.
Now in this game, we actually do have a pause that happens in the final 2, and 07's IGL Naski stands up, but manages to get back to his PC in time to get the win versus Fnatic.
As we get a brief pause at the moment, just before all the action is going to unfold.
Wait.
They paused it, I think?
No. Remember, it could just be an observer thing, and we have the ability. We have the ability to pause games. Remember.
Put it back on, Natsuki, lock in, boys! Fnatic are locked in. And here we go, everyone, the 3v3. Hey, we like to build it here in the ALGS, right? Straight 3v3, headsets on. The advantage with the height has to go to Fnatic. But Leica's gone down! It's Natsuki who gets the kill! Natsuki will fall as well. Amphi looking to move in now to clean up the damage. It would be a monster win here for 07 if they could do it. With the hip fire, it's gonna be enough! And 07 will close out game 3 of Storm Point.
A little bit later in the day, we have a near 1v3 from Alliance's Effect.
Here, unlucky, though, is incredibly low, leaving him one. He gets taken down. E8 now moving in from right behind him, and that was going to be the pinch that we were worried about as Elevate leaves.
So this is the problem here, is that Legends Gaming, they weren't the one who downed him, so they weren't sure if it was time to push, but the scan reveals that they're trying to go for the reset, and just in time, do they push it? Effect, can he use these knockdown shields to pull off the clutch of this day?
No way, and even healing a little bit in their own smokes with that bang perk here too. Incredibly low, tries to work around the knockdown, but he can't clutch it! He left him one! 128 strafing flame survives, gets the evil shield swap, and Legend gets to see another day!
Now, as you can tell, some of the teams we've already talked about, EMEA teams, because instantly, day one, the theme is that North America does not look as strong as they once did, with Elevate being one of the highest placing teams in that first set at only 7. And speaking of the Europeans, in the second set came another EMEA powerhouse as Aurora begin their dominant warpath through groups, winning the set without actually having to win a single game.
One's already fallen as well. It's going to be Orain who's able to get the initial one. Now we're going to see Beast of the Hunt activated as MDYY say, well, we might have to send it, but Aurora say no! We'll send it for you!
Aurora do not need to be asked twice, but are they going to look back at this as a mistake? The answer, we're going to have to wait and see. Another team is going to try and join. It's Omin who now go up onto the hyper. Lufka will go down. Light goes down as well, and Blast is now on its own, and somehow it looks like Aurora's still alive here.
Somehow still alive, as now it's just fists are swinging, and Omen get eliminated. Now it's Aurora.
And to close out their dominant victory, of course, in the final game of that set, we're going to get a little bit of showmanship from the Grim Reaper.
It's still Hardecki, and for as good as he is, with all due respect, you have the feeling that even Hardecki knows, wait a minute, or he's saying, right boys, it's up to me.
Well, ladies and gents, here we go. This could be an I was there moment.
What have you got for us, Hardecki? Not enough.
Although North America as a whole to start the day hadn't looked as strong, there was one team that was not going to be denied, and that was Dark Zero, who, although they may have been overshadowed by Aurora in that second set, in our final series of the day, DZ drops 77 total points.
Breaking out through there as they will maximize their KP. SSG has fallen, and now Dark Zero full sending upon the remnants of Riddle.
It's a nice win from Dark Zero.
And right behind Dark Zero was a familiar face. Sharky and Virtus Pro show up big time, having a 70-point set themselves, showing that despite Sharky and Pricey's time away from the game, they're back in full swing and not to be underestimated.
That's right across from them instead. Tricky situation to be in here as Pricey takes the first shot. Sharky is going to be able to get the knock onto Tyler. Going to be able to follow up with Kaida, not being a lot of trouble. 3 spots left, but Dark Zero pressured with the ring right behind them. They got to get this follow.
How is Lobby still alive?
Are you kidding me? Furnace, bro! Gonna be gonna clean up the rest of this lobby!
On the day overall, another dominant storyline was Alliance. Although they didn't win either group, the new team was showing out, with their new fragger Unlucky going nuclear with 31 total kills, while both his teammates Effect and Hawkus were also finishing the day inside the top 10. Later in the groups, we see more teams showing up like Furia with an 18-kill game.
Flank from the other side. They're taking the multi-angle approach. Arteki takes a swing. Keon commits to the low ground. Takes down Arteki. Impulse has fallen. Furia from the high ground have one member left to deal with. Magnus is committed down low, however. They swing back up. It's a wild goose chase. The Furia win, taking game 3 in style.
As well as APAC North team Reject, and then 2 NA teams Moist and SSG, all bouncing back after having a mediocre first day to send themselves through to the winner's bracket. While that's all happening, Cloud9 develops a little bit of beef with Lifeline. But as we talked about earlier, Alliance had that massive day one, which had already locked them into the winner's bracket, and so they decided to take day number 2 and use it to put some pressure onto DSG.
Wait a second, whoa. Alliance, they've abandoned Monument and have went to Thermal. You mentioned the last time on World's Edge. Well, here it goes. Designs already down. Effect with the longbow, making it work. Timmy on the Mozam, answering back. Last standing. We've seen this position before, just on the outskirts of Countdown, and the same result happens. Alliance, what are you boys doing over there?
But they're going to keep that momentum going and take the killing power to a whole new level, dropping a historic game.
Take, so this is not going to be easy. It's enough that Alliance needs to full send yet another squad.
But we just said it, Chip. Hardeki has to stay alive, and the very fact that he's gone down, no matter the reason, means likely the end of Aurora. Alliance have very little resistance.
Anyone east? Yes. Yeah. Fight this. Careful building. Building's looking. I'm pushing this. Push this. Yes, back crack towers. Back crack. Bottom dead. Back is cracked as well. Top crack. All dead. Come to me. I'm one. One HP on me inside. Crack. Dead. Outside, guys. I'm going.
Openings, in effect, does have the black hole. We finally bring it down. We talk about all the things from the heavens. No, bro, we are crawling out there. The demons that they wear you up in your dreams, they're here. Alliance.
This is the same effect that we saw in group stages of split shoot playoffs last year. The effect that took everyone by storm. It is a 24-kill game for Alliance. I know we talk about dropping nukes. This is a war that they just waged on the rest of the lobby.
Not only did Alliance drop a 24-kill game, but they killed the former record holders to do it. Legendary game. And similar to that surprise contest that Alliance did against DSG at Thermal Station, Space Station Gaming, they've been dealing with a contest against Red Rams over at Climatizer, and they've already locked their spot into the winner's bracket, while Red Rams, they're on the brink of going down to the Elim bracket. So they decide to drop at Lightning Rod.
Of course, we still need to see what happens elsewhere. Now another fight still going on. It's SSG this time, and it's great shots from the vault. The Hemlock comes out of the back pocket, and it is Red Rams eliminated, and SSG let them know who's boss.
We love a little box shooting, but the two biggest storylines coming into this LAN were obviously the two dynasties. The only team to have won LANs, TSM and Dark Zero. TSM was dealing with a contest at Siphon versus Wonton Dumpling, which proved to be not much of an issue, but on Storm Point over at Lightning Rod, Red Rams, an APAC North team, was proving to be one not to mess with.
We get up on you, Hal. Yep. I got birded. I gotta go bottom corner. They're on me. They're on me. Two of them. I cracked the horizon. Okay. Crossing to Jordan. They're gonna jump maybe. Can we cross the stairs? Yeah. On your door. On your right. I'm going to the roof. Okay. I'm with you. No, on the left side. Both bottom floor. You want to peek it? Blood crack. I'm peeking this. I'm peeking it. 31. 101 on your right. Blood it. He's up. Horizon 1. John Blood. Horizon 1. Plus 1. Oh my god, man.
Let's play aggressive on them. We have triple blues. They're on white.
But on the flip side, while TSM was struggling, Dark Zero was dominating, and with a final set of groups, they took it to a whole new level, destroying multiple records along the way.
All towards 2R1C, giving Sweet the chance to stay alive for a bit longer. Jen Burton drops down, Micey falls, ERK falls, 2R1C and Dark Zero are really in it, but it gives Sweet the chance to third party, and he comes from the low ground. Can Sweet do it? Havoc in hand, turboed up, he takes the the 2v1, drops, but man, was it good. Dark Zero taking fourth.
What a statement it could be from Dark Zero to go back-to-back here, but they still have work to do, but that work currently being done in the kill feed. EA have just lost one. Boogie Boarders back up to a 4-3. The respawn is successful. The weapons are now being grabbed, and maybe the Boogie Boarders can take on Dark Zero.
As DZ drop down, it's our final two teams. Boogie Boarders must stand their ground now from on high. Zero slides in, Zero with the Havoc takes the win, and DZ do go back to back. Can Legends with Koifel fight back somehow against the monsters of this lobby? Player K is down, Koifel's going to follow, and through the smoke, Dark Zero comes for all of them. It's Sykes and Zero up against the last member of Legends, and Dark Zero go back to back to back.
But look at the difference between 1 and 2. That is a 90-point difference between our first team, Dark Zero, and Aurora.
I mean, we talk about the previous record holder sitting around 205. That was Alliance coming almost initially out of Stockholm here. We haven't seen a performance like this in literally over 2 years.
What is your statement to the rest of the world right now?
Where's the challenge? Where's the challenge?
For our ALGS Split 1 playoffs, day 3, where we send 10 teams home right now. 10 teams in the afternoon. And of course, 20 teams to match point finals.
So with groups out of the way, teams' tournament lives are on the line, which means we begin with Elimination Bracket Round 1. South Americans Geared Gaming and APAC North's Kenotrope dominate early to secure their spots, moving on to the next round.
But even they had to wait maybe just another few seconds.
Kenotrope versus Oxygen right now. We see the knock, but Rupa does it again! Kenotrope with the back-to-back dubs on Storm Point.
Heading into the final game, about 7 spots were locked in, meaning the final 3 spots were up for grabs, and we had some drama, as Luminosity was on the outside looking in. But how did Luminosity fall to the elimination bracket? Well, they were terrible in groups, finishing 35th out of the 40 qualified teams, so clearly a very slow start. And if their tournament run ends here, not only would it be incredibly disappointing, but Sweet, one of the IGLs who has made it to every single LAN finals, would have failed to qualify for the first time. So in this final game, it's time to clutch up.
To surpass the points that a win will be gathering in this game.
Well, this is going to make all the difference. With the rings at their back, they take down Boogie Boarders. They find themselves into the top 10. Boogie Boarders, though, they're going home packing.
Sweet, one more tick of the ring could do it. Sitting on 50 HP, manages to find a little bit of safe space to play, but LG could be the ones next up on the chopping block. There we go, Slayer falls, Sweet goes immediately afterwards, and LG go down in 10th place.
That is not a safe place, knowing that Passion UA, North Action, so close to being able to jump over them, so you have to keep your eyes on Artico, Sonya, Max Strafe, because they'll be the deciding factors on if they send a Titan home.
Oh man, in a really sticky position right now as well. Have lost some members. WMNDY up against Passion UA on the other end of the screen. Passion UA is falling. Cloud9 are down, but WMNDY stay alive as Passion UA fall.
Passion UA, I swear, first time on land, 33 points, 1 point shy of making the move here.
North Action and Tom Young-Kung would need to kill almost everyone in the lobby and find the win to just beat out Omid, but LG is a lot less safe, Tiff.
I am not comfortable if I am Sweet, Funk, or Slayer. North Action has fallen. That means Luminosity may live to see another day.
And clutch up LG did, but not only did they, Chinese team WMNDY jumps up as well, knocking out Oxygen and Riddle, who both surprisingly fall out of the top 10, leading to the end of their tournament runs. But with 10 teams being eliminated and 10 more moving on to the Elim Round 2, we've got to find out who will be locking in their spots in the finals and who will be joining those 10 for the last set of the day, and that's going to lead us into the winner's bracket. We begin with a bang as 2 of our dominant forces from the group stages, Dark Zero and Virtus Pro, begin with big performances in games 1 and 2.
Get a chance to push. They're forcing the narrative. They're trying to force it here, and they're going to get that first knock. Jeff goes in and takes down Sangyu. Now the rest trying to follow up on that damage, but it's all down to Sykes. He's left on his own. It's a 1v1 to win it. The only thing they
But the story of this bracket quickly becomes 3 APAC teams as Serenity, Reject, and Fnatic begin to separate themselves from the pack. Serenity, a rather unknown team from APAC South, finishes with 3 second places in a row. The fact that they even made it through to the winner's bracket was surprising in itself, but then performing like this, they were taking the world by storm quickly. Meanwhile, Reject took second place in that first game, and they won game number 2.
Just going to be able to shoot the fish in a barrel as now they make their move. Reject Winity looking for another win here, and they will get it.
Storm Point continues to be Reject Winity's home ground here.
But the stars of the show was Fnatic. They decimate the lobby, 51 kills, and 3 straight 20-plus point games.
So has Suzuki here as Yuka, can he hit the Graver shot? He gets the shield break. The follow-up, he holds the high ground. Crack after crack with the Graver Leica, and Suzuki come in to clean up on aisle 3. Taking their time on this rotate, they lost out on Leica, now they're prioritizing the shield bats. Sliding in, the last one alive, and Fnatic with the patience, the safety protocol to take game number 4.
But it wouldn't be the bracket stage without some final game drama. So 07 currently sitting in 17th place heading into game number 6. Well, they're gonna go nuclear.
Fnatic are in the lead, but can 07?
07 on 25. They are 6 points away, and there's still 6 points left in this lobby. It could come down to a tiebreaker. They've been playing Godspot so well. We'll go to an 07. Listen in.
Please, please, on points. Please, 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 please.
Oh my God, have faith. We don't know. Lasky is praying right now as we wait for the confirmation. As I look to the leaderboard in the stadium here at the Galen Center, 07 was in 10th place. As far as I understand it, that means they have won the tiebreaker and will be going in. Nasky, he knows it, he believes it. 07 have done it.
But as mentioned earlier, 3 APAC teams at the top of this leaderboard, and well, that performance from specifically Fnatic, but also Reject, it got some people on high alert.
Yeah, I've just been loving seeing all the APAC representation. It's been really great. But one of my favorite things about at least today was that we saw that gods can bleed, and Dark Zero wasn't just running away with the whole tournament.
And speaking of which, many major teams, including TSM, are falling to the elimination bracket round 2, including Alliance, Furia, Legends, SSG, and E8. In the Elim bracket round 2, we were going to send 10 more teams to the finals and 10 more teams home. And as I've already mentioned, one of the main storylines coming to this land was obviously our reigning champions, TSM. And in this elimination bracket round 2, they're going to be double contested, having to deal with Wonton Dumpling at World's Edge at Lava Siphon and the aforementioned Red Rams at Lightning Rod on Storm Point.
Wonton Dumpling is going to run with their tail between their legs, Greek. Wait a minute.
WTD picks up one.
No way. No shot right now.
PK is putting in work. Another max pump.
Nice. Barrels goes
1v1.
down. 1v1. It's a peak god coming in for the 1v1.
Wait!
Oh my god.
He's
Reps
so
down.
weak!
Armor swap comes out. Reps is stuck down below. Are you kidding me? Reps gonna get the kill here. Peak god jumped out.
Oh my god!
Oh my goodness. TSM eliminated by WTD. What are we watching? No one in this audience can believe it, Greek.
But luckily for TSM, on World's Edge, they prove not to be trifled with as Wonton can't handle the champions.
And TSM's off to a start already. That's going to dominate WTD.
Bro,
and there it is, baby.
SSG's late swerving.
Oh my goodness. Wonton Dumpling is eliminated from TSM. And TSM take down WTD.
Bro.
He's trying to stay alive. And there we go.
Kyle should be able to clean it.
And WTD eliminated. We called it, Greek. Another win for TSM. Good job.
Apart from TSM's contest, we do begin the elimination bracket round 2 with a tense trials zone as Legends manages to come out on top over LG due to Player K's nasty Kraber shot.
And Player K has a Kraber, the game changer here, Greek.
I want to
Can he
point
get
out,
a shot?
LG just got
Oh! Oh my God!
got bang on down though. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Players got to go big.
And there we go. Koiful rocks his world. And Koiful
1v1
in a 1v1. Slayer's going to be 20 HP. Can Slayer clutch up here, Greek? Koiful needs to get aggressive. What is he doing? Koiful's scared. He's got to get in there, Greek. He's allowing for Slayer to full heal. What
he
is he
doesn't have
doing?
a bat. He only has small meds. Oh my God. Controller versus controller. Slayer versus Koi.
Here we go. And Koiful. Oh my goodness. Legends Gaming. Are you kidding me? Player K with an unbelievable shot.
Then in game 2, we get another trials zone.
All right, so another trials ending. LG gets
No
a
way.
very fast rotate.
Bro,
Kinatrope.
And the next game, wait, 3 trials zones in a row?
And we have another trial zone! What the?
We have a trial zone here over on the north side of the map. Yet again, 3 north zones, man. How much
Not only
easy-
north, but literally trials north. This is all the way in the back.
So after these 3 trial zones, the one surprising storyline was that Alliance, the team who lands at SkyWest Trials, was not able to capitalize on them almost at all.
Alliance in shambles here.
Oh,
And they have zone.
What is Alliance
You cannot
doing?
be dying here again with 2 trial zone. This is a gimme. Zach is the kill. Hawkins goes down. And Alliance, man. I mean, listen, bro, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but they get Sky West Trials. Arguably the best loot in the game on the map, and 2 trial zones, and they don't even get a top 5 on either of them.
After these games, Elevate, Kinatrope, and Legends were all largely locked in to going to the finals. And North America as a whole was starting to wake up as 6 of the top 10 teams were NA. But notably joining Alliance on the struggle bus was Cloud9 and Furia. Cloud9, they ran into their old foe Lifeline.
That's to be well needed for EA to get that early KP. Red Rams, no strangers to fighting. Full send into this building against Cloud9. That res on the wire. Can we get it? Thanks to the lifeline here.
Here's the tap.
It doesn't go through, and now, oh, is this really happening? Dash
with the gold knockdown shield comes back up. Roller in hand. He can do it. Cloud9 are down.
But Lifeline could not hold them down forever as C9 and Alliance finally wake up when we flip over to Storm Point for game number 4.
Alliance eliminated.
C9.
Oh my goodness.
C9.
And C9 now walks out. It's going to be
It's a
enemy.
1v1.
A 1v1. Can they do it?
C9.
And C9.
Made in Heaven are eliminated. They will be going down, and maybe it's going to be disguised to Typhoon. Typhoon can't do it. And C9. Massive win for C9.
I think one thing that the man on the left of your screen, Naughty, is probably thinking is, thank God there wasn't another lifeline to ruin it for us.
And so through 5 games, the top 7 spots are locked, but the final game is going to be intense. We still have 3 spots up for grabs. But in the end, the one team that truly is putting on a performance and potentially going to steal a spot ends up being Crazy Raccoon from APAC North. In the end game of this zone, Alliance has done enough to make it inside of that 10th spot, and CR is in the top 5. If they can just stay alive a little bit longer, they might be able to jump Alliance and continue their streak of making it to finals live.
Day 1 of the ALGS Open is alive and well. We've already seen a massive start from LG showing up and showing out. Nearly 100 points for them alongside all of the other groups that have been playing here in the biggest Apex Legends tournament to date. My name is Rain Day and welcome back to our desk where we will be beginning the action for Series 2 out of 3 today and talking about the teams that have shown up with one goal only to win a trophy. Of course, I'm joined now with a little bit of new, a little bit of familiar, definitely some seat swap-ups here. Lauren, Glitter, Explosion, Zephyr, and Jamerson back with us, taking on the corner over there. How's the look over there, man?
I mean, eventually we're going to play the true Battle Royale, which is musical chairs.
That's right.
So.
And the desk will whittle down from 3 to 2 to the last
I'm out first.
person
I want
standing.
you to know that.
And then you'll have to solo cast all of halftime yourself on finals day. Lauren, welcome. It's exciting to have you. We're jumping in. A lot of action in our first series. Obviously, LG came out. You know, takeaways for me was that experience is kind of trumping a lot of the excitement, the new format that we've seen so far. But there's definitely been some bright spots of new teams, qualifier teams that have been really successful. What's been your take so far after just one series?
Takeaway might be that you were the only one that saw that coming.
That's true.
Okay, I'm going to give you your credit.
Thank you very much. Thank you. God, this desk is feeling good. This is feeling. I like this.
LG
This is starting to feel good. Yeah.
The glaze is crazy.
It's crazy over here. Man, oh, wow. Yeah, no, you're right. And I think that's kind of starting to give us a little bit of, there might be something that we can point out. Although this is a new format and we are all learning, as with Group 2 will be a totally different dynamic, we are having ways of kind of seeing, well, maybe this team, as we have some fans, we have to just pause here. There's some very cute fans over there. I don't know if that's 6 years old or something, but there's all kinds of people hanging out in the ALGS Open. Zeph, what's been fun about this so far for you?
I think, you know, there's a lot I could talk about with the teams and that, but just that moment alone, this is probably one of the most comfortable lands I think we've had. It's not just the couches, but the kind of symbiotic relationship.
Some of it is the couches, though.
Well, it's true.
And we're not standing.
But being so close to everyone, not just in terms of these teams, but those that have been desired competitors who are some of the biggest competitive Apex fans in the scene, those that they themselves compete in reach for the glory, reach for that target, as we've been talking about, can be some of the best people to be around. And so that's been really fun, getting to chat, checking out the pit, being over by the exhibition over there as well, and everyone's just so friendly.
I mean, we mentioned the Rambo story a little bit. We know RKN is here, who's joined us on desk before. Even fans that have been longtime fans who have tweeted out at us, we're watching, our family's watching. Christian Book Notes, he showed up. He's got his kids here. They road tripped all the way down. It is definitely a fun environment, and everyone has been excited. But if you missed the earlier part of today, that's okay. We've got you caught up, and we'll let you know how we're transitioning into the rest of the day. We had our first series, and that, of course, was LG on main stage taking the cake. We also saw Falcons dominate their group, Shopify Rebellion in turn show value, and Team Orchid lead the other groups. The teams who are in the top 10 will maintain their positions in the winner's side of the bracket. All of our bottom 10 teams, though, they are going to be in the elimination side, meaning if they bottom 10 one more time, they are out. So there's a lot going on. Our next series on main stage will be going on in just a few moments. But a couple of highlights, Lauren, from earlier on, if you missed some of the action.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the things that we were talking about at the beginning of the desk, you guys mentioned it, is that we started off the day with a little bit of a surprise. And that was literally the entire point of the Open, is to get some of these newer names and faces out there for people to learn about.
That's right. SGB, a team that we didn't think we'd be saying first, but then it kind of gets Jamerson into some of the expected, maybe the unexpected. K-Swinny, not typically the guy to misplay in those moments, but he did, and Shubi took advantage of it.
But the series of events that happens after this, right, it's just LG on the domination train, and we know that they have the potential, they just haven't lived up to it quite yet, so I'm glad that they have here, you know, day number 1 to really loosen up and warm up into a lot of these fights. They're looking a lot better, a lot more cohesive in their team fighting, and it's showing. The results are right there, and we know that they can win. We know that they can get themselves to endgame, but they just haven't been able to convert into these big, high-flying games. They, you know, typically err on 15, 17-point wins, and now they're doing it high fashion.
And then afterwards, of course, you got what was DXA, coming through in their first big shining moment. Once again, kind of those lower misnomers. Then Unleashed to finish us out as well. I mean, we've heard of faces like Dig Vibes and even Psycho, who's behind that roster, currently coaching it. They have been around, they have been competitors, and now they get the chance to be there on the stage.
I think one of the interesting thing is there is a new dynamic here where earlier on, you know your group well ahead of time, and then you are basically accumulating points. You were just trying to get as many points as possible, set up for your winners final, set up for your POI draft position. But now it's really about survival, I think. You're just trying to come out of the gate and get in that top 10. So it's changing the pace, it's changing the threat level early on. I almost said threat level midnight because that's just one of the... When I say threat level...
Michael Scott moment in the
When I say threat level, the only word that comes after that in my mind is midnight. So, that's just had to be said. But let's take a look at this series here as we kind of start getting into this action, because we've got a whole new group of teams that equally in the same way, Lauren, kind of lean on some familiar from all regions, like Leave No Witness and South America, Azazel, and then also some of these main heavy hitters who you think they just won the last tournament and not as sincere, they could end up winning again. What's your eagle's eye overview of group number 2 here on main stage?
I mean, we're always drawn to a lot of these current ALGS Pro League teams. But, I mean, we also need to mention Furia. They had a really consistent performance at Champs, and we won't get an opportunity to highlight them, but they are a team that could easily come through in a lobby like this, get some strong games right out the gate, and easily move forward in the competition.
Not joining Furia, Madness and Keon. Furia made the announcement, the least best kept secret, they were saying. And Ben, as you look at this, anybody that stands out that maybe we're not paying attention to that you might have noticed here, or are we still waiting to be surprised?
I mean, I'm looking at some of these smaller teams, of course, outside of Three Muppets, big name roster that's been around EMEA for a very long time between Kumba Strongest and Plame there. Of course, alongside that, even Reply Totem reappearing here.
I know.
Like Andy Jax, Wilhelm, Nisa, these are rosters that have been CMW, Samsung's Morning Stars. I mean, they've been around the bend here and could always show up.
It's been a phenomenal thing to experience the diversity of who our champions have been over year 4. We started off a year ago in Split 1, and we saw someone raising that trophy in what is now the iteration of Crazy Raccoon back in Los Angeles when we were at the Galen Center at USC. Well, just a couple months ago in February, we saw a team that defied the odds and targeted greatness in Sapporo, the biggest tournament we've ever had, and their journey on how they got there and what it has meant to them leading into this is one you got to see.
Players in those booths probably haven't felt anything like this. These lights are bright. It pretty much is as bright as possible when it comes to competitive esports.
Every single region here has an amazing chance at glory. Anyone on this main stage could be lifting that trophy, and that will produce something spectacular.
Championships are not given, they are earned.
I've still got a feeling there's going to be quite the surprise coming around the corner.
In the world of Apex Legends, it felt like greatness was reserved for giants, those who walk into lands with confidence and have stat sheets full of wins. But every now and then, there's a rumbling beneath the surface.
It won't be for the brand! Oh my god!
A name you didn't expect.
Blackhand looks like they're more than happy to take any fight.
They are going nuclear in this game.
A team no one saw coming.
Disciple still with some shields, sprays, prays, and wins it for DSG!
At the championship in Sapporo, a team in the shadows for years finally broke through.
Me and Duxago played together since 2019. We understand each other very well in game.
Na'Vi was a team that had made several lands, but couldn't produce results when they had arrived.
I felt discouraged, traveling so long. Our finals were never a great thing.
But the hunger for competing, it's something special, not just something you can let go.
Everything I've done before made me be who I am. You need to lose to know how to win.
Na'Vi may have never been a team that many talked about, but that didn't stop them from writing their own story.
Go next, or LG can push us to another game. Alliance or Falcons could win it all here.
I saw all those teams who always won, and I was like, if we win, they cannot.
Falcons get eliminated! It's another 1v3, but I don't think Alliance could do it. Go next!
Yeah, it was our first time meeting Matchpoint. We were like, it's our time, we can win it, we can make it, like let's go, we will do it, you know.
I always dream about it. Yeah, I mean, I believe in myself.
See, Apex has always been a place for the unknown to shine. Greatness was never reserved for the Giants.
If you put in the time, you put in the effort, and you believe in your teammates,
Then anything can happen. This could even be you.
Come on, boys! Focus. Game. Come on!
Go next. Can you imagine if they pull off a victory here?
Do it, Zidane. We need your whole forward, please.
What,
No.
but they send the cowboy down as well. They split the zone. They completely own this side.
They have to climb. I'm bubbling. Stay alive, boys.
Now it's
The slam for VP, but go next will hold.
Dead. Stay alive, Zidane. They're fighting. You're in there.
Zidane looking to claim their destiny. It's go next. Who win it?
Talk about an underdog story!
No longer underdogs, certainly a team that is on the top list for potential winners heading into the ALGS Open. A beautiful showcase there by none other than Jumba GW. He's been making some amazing content. He's here in the building. Big shout out to Jumba. We got Jayhawk as well, who helps us out with a lot of that stuff too in the building, not on broadcast this time, but big shout out to our guys telling those stories, Lauren, because those are the stories that bring emotion to the game, but they also show you a little glimpse of the stuff you don't get to see, the things inside these players' heads, how much it means to them to make it to the top and succeed.
I think that one was a really good illustration, too, of the entire journey for a team like Na'Vi from start to finish. It's not an easy road to get to the top and claim that championship, but there's specifically, I mean, you even heard Iarka saying, you need to learn how to lose before you can win. And in a game like Apex, that couldn't be any more appropriate. They are now a squad coming into this event. They have that additional pressure on their shoulders, knowing that they currently hold the title, and people are going to be looking at them to find that success. We heard Gaskin mentioning it in the first series. They are the epitome of a rags to riches story. That's what this event is, an opportunity for these teams to make a name for themselves and show how that success can really catapult you into the exact position that Na'Vi now find themselves in. And we get to take a look at their performance, and this was the second week of Pro League, and they absolutely dominated. They had 3 wins on the day, 2 of them being on Broken Moon, and we've talked about how this is the first time we get to see that map, whether it's in Pro League, now here at LAN, and they're still finding that success, and we heard it in the package, but Zidane comes in clutch and clutch and clutch time again. They are a team to absolutely watch the entire event.
And he is such a good underrated player. These guys have been performing really well, but not necessarily at the right space, in the right time, to get that kind of upper echelon feeling attached to them. Now they are coming in as the latest champion. Everyone knows that they are a threat. Obviously, repped by Na'Vi, one of the great orgs across EMEA and in our esports world. So this is a team to look out for. Zephyr, I want to go to you too, because they're not the only big name in this group.
I was going to say, you're naming big, great esports orgs. Well, there's definitely one that shines above the rest, and one that has been a part of the Apex Legends story for quite some time here. NRG, even in their newest iteration, is one that I look to highlight, especially as we go into the series, because we talk about experience. Guild, Timmy, Yanya, this is a team that has as much Pro League experience as anyone else, and while yes, the start of this Pro League season has been slightly rough for them, they have been able to slowly turn them back. Okay, the last time we saw them perform here, they were able to walk out of North America with an overall second place positioning with 62 points here. That's not a team that is feeling shaky, and I want to highlight especially that match 3 there on Storm Point here. 20 KP. We talk about aggression. We talk about setting momentum here. If there's a team that has the experience and now the proven result to do so, well, NRG can take the cake.
I like this team, too, because it is a little bit of so much potential on the board. You look at the stat sheet and you look at them individually. They're all, if you go to your favorite, let's use FIFA as an example, EA company. I mean, they're rated 95s, right? They're all kind of in that high-level all-star type player, but can they mesh together? That's the question. Can Timmy find his way? Obviously, after skydiving, just get his bearings back today. But then to help Yanya and coordinate this squad so that they are effective, because one of the harder things to do, Jamerson, is actually to take really great pieces that haven't played together and make them work as a team. taking a lot of individual talent is not always easy to put into a space.
Yeah, I would say another challenge, though, for is teams that find the success, find the greatness, right? And we're going to have to talk about Crazy Raccoon here.
That's true.
They were our Split 1 winners in year number 4. And we were talking about how, hey, the top spots aren't reserved for Giants all the time. You still have to earn it, and they definitely earned it. But then from there, once you reach the peak, the valleys seem that much lower in comparison, and that's kind of where they're at right now.
Yeah.
Didn't have the greatest of performances at Champs. They're still rebounding here throughout Pro League, and they're still trying to find their rhythm in this new meta, and they have been able to do it. And you have to really think about how their story does mimic Go Next, does mimic Na'Vi. These are competitors that have been around since 2019, have been competing in Korea all this time since Apex launched. And so they are in a very similar state. They've tasted greatness, but now they need to strive for more.
I mean, a split playoffs is a big deal. It's not a championship. You obviously want to perform. We have February that these teams are staring right back at, and maybe they didn't come off a good one, but truly the fact that this is a year ago that they were lifting that trophy for essentially this tournament, although it's the ALGS Open now, that's got to bode well for them saying, hey, we did it once in America. We can go ahead, travel, and do it again. We know what it's like to win on foreign soil. So Crazy Raccoon, Obli, Karumpe, and Sang Jun trying to get back to winning ways. Of course, our talent always has ideas on who they think is going to win. And, you know, last time I did have a good start with LG. I'm totally biased here in terms of I just think NRG because I got to vote for my boy who I just went skydiving with. That's it. I mean, we opened the show. I got to say Timmy, he was cool, calm, and collected. I got to go for that one. But Lauren, you're going Na'Vi. That makes a lot of sense. You trust the guys to get it done.
I mean, you can't hype them up enough.
Right.
They're the current ones with the title in hand.
This is true.
Day one. This should be easy for them.
This is true. Furia for Vicky as well. On the other side, Jamerson sticking with the guns of the team that you focused on. And yet again, Ben, you have focused on a team that you're not picking and you're picking another team. So I'm just,
you know,
I'm not getting it here.
I'm a man of many thoughts. And, you know, they come to me, they say, talk about this, pick this. I can't quite keep putting it together, you know, here at this LAN. But I will say for Furia, we talked a little bit about that aggression with energy. They were my second pick if I was going to highlight anyone. I highly remember folks like Nock and Magnus. They can come out of the gates and absolutely shred through a group stage when given the opportunity. So I have my defense, okay? I stand on trial.
You're a deep man, you know? You got a lot of sides to you. That's okay. That's a great thing, and I appreciate it. We'll see which talent member is in the lead after this one and also which team shows up for it. But if you guys want to watch, you know what the deal is. Make sure to check out faceit.com/watch because you get multi-view there. You get multiple teams, but the teams that you care about, curate the screen. So maybe you have your map on one side. You're still getting Twitch chat and earning some prizes and things like that Red Pathfinder skin that's available today. And then you can do it on mobile too. It's that simple. Plus your comms of your favorite teams and players. So maybe we only hear one story on main broadcast. You get the inside scoop on how that rotation worked. Control it, watch it the way you want. The ALGS your way. Faceit.com/watch. All right, we love it, man. We enjoying these chairs, Lauren? I know.
I'm comfy.
This is nice, right? This is your first chair.
I know.
What about? Does that look like, if I just stood up, would it look like I'm wearing this? Could someone green screen me?
I'm flying away when I stand up.
And we also have I'm blocking it with, you know, this, but we have a trombone here, or sorry.
That we're trying to keep away from Ben.
It's a horn? I think a French horn.
They took out the
saxophone. Closer,
they got rid of the reed. I'm not allowed to play any of them.
Yeah, because he's so. This is again another side of you. He wanted to play a saxophone mid. So picking NRG, Furia, playing saxophone. I mean, in one death segment, that's a lot to aim for.
Yeah, there's only such highlights to a dodecahedron.
Oh God, bringing in some geometry as well. I failed geometry. One of the only things I actually failed in school. I gotta say.
Impressive.
Yeah. That's true.
That's hard.
That was my one. That was my
PE.
Excuse me?
PE.
Wow. All right, I think it's time to check out what our casters have to say about this because we're having too much fun. And boy, is there even much to say? It's just a lot to look at. These two beautiful human beings, Dia and Graceful. I like the glasses, Dia.
I was trying to be cool, Rain Day. I heard you guys talking about school, though, and I feel like I've missed the mark. I don't really look like anyone who excelled in a particular subject, except maybe Apex Legends, Graceful, maybe.
Definitely. I'm all here for the action, and I can't wait to dive into the game, because sometimes the couch is cozy, but I don't have time to dive deep. I'm here for all the analysis.
It's true. I was sitting on the couch yesterday, I was sinking into it slowly, enjoying the fact that we actually have that now. It does create a nice conversational atmosphere on the desk. Zephyr maybe kept away from the musical instruments for now, but as we shift our attention to what's happening on the stage, I'm really excited for the teams that they hyped up to actually start competing, because this is the second half of the winners bracket. We just went through the first bit, or I guess upper bracket, because nobody's won yet. But what will be the winners bracket, the whole upper side where you need to stay top 10 all the time in order to be here. And so we are still really in very, very mixed lobbies. And I'll be honest, Graceful, I expected a lot more chaos than we got this morning in our first couple of rounds. I'm wondering if this lobby will be a little bit more chaotic. We do have a lot of high fragging teams, as in, of course, any Apex lobby, but will they be able to take advantage of it in the same way as we saw LG do in the last round? Because LG really felt like one of the only teams that was abusing their mechanical advantage.
Yeah, most definitely. All these strong veteran teams we're talking about, the big name teams, I think they're still going to be at the top. Like in all the lobbies so far, they have been. Teams that haven't been, popping off so far, they're still fighting for, top 10 isn't necessarily crazy hard to make. Yep. You need that 6-point average and you will make it through. But when we're talking about just being consistent and understanding the lobby, because like the first game, even LG said it as well. First game, they were like, hey man, we can't make it because we had a slow game. And then they said, we just got to have confidence and go at it. That's an advantage that some teams have. And also, speaking of advantage, Jumbo is here looking really cute as well. The advantage on home court almost is, looking really good going into this lobby. I hope that the stronger teams will make it through, which they will. The lower teams might have to wake up, because now it's go time. You could be in LM1 today.
Yeah, and those stories are going to be really interesting to cover. Actually, speaking of those stories, because we've got the big Apex content creators here, Jayhawk and Jumba. There'll probably be a couple of YouTube videos made about performances that happened today, specifically with the teams that, like you say, may underperform, maybe undercut by a lack of preparation and how to actually take advantage of these lobbies. Of course, everybody's going to have different game plans prepared, as we have the most maps that we've ever had at LAN here in the ALGS for this particular group. For this particular round, we're going to be going through Stormpoint and Broken Moon. Starting off on Stormpoint, Graceful, this reminds me a lot of this morning. I'd say it's a comfortable place given what we've already seen.
I mean, as long as we don't get repetitive zones, like I've said for multiple LANs, I am more than happy to see all of this. Stormpoint is one of those maps where any POI is playable and all teams should feel really comfortable on it, because we have a lot of experience on it, and here we can see the drop rate as well is super good, because now everybody's playstyle is also adaptable to which comp they're playing. Even on bans, some teams end up playing the exact same way just by swapping out one legend or not. It doesn't really affect macro.
Real quickly, I think it's interesting you say that. I want to talk about it a little more. What you're prioritizing, whether you're prioritizing Stormpoint or Broken Moon, because those are the two places that we'll be jumping between on our maps. We had, in the top 10 teams, I'm counting 10, 13, 14, in the top 14 teams, there was only one team that prioritized Broken Moon over Stormpoint, and that was NRG, who ended up going Zeus Station for this particular round on Stormpoint, but they prioritized Broken Moon first. Is that something that you'd expect more teams to be jumping on later on? Because, like you say, you should be able to succeed with anything on Stormpoint?
Yes, 100%. Anytime a new map gets introduced into the scene, you will always be more comfortable on older maps because you have more experience, you have more reps in on it. And especially on maps that are really well competitively balanced, I would say, where no POIs doesn't really matter too much because they're all solid, right? They opt more for the newer maps like Broken Moon to ensure that, hey, we can stay at a consistent level across all boards, because rather than just throwing one map away or whatnot, you're trying to even it out across all games so you can win, on every map rather than just banking on one map, because there's so many layers and factors going into it. Which teams are in your lobby, how is their macro, which zone is it, what if they only play one specific comp on one map? Now, that could be messed up by a ban. There's so many layers to it, and I think as long as you try to make it balanced to, hey, this is our weaker, this is our stronger map, let's try to even it out across the board, they will have a better probability to have consistent results rather than very hot or very cold.
And that's one of the other areas where, in terms of map preparation, macro preparation, teams with coaches that have been able to either acquire them or had them before qualifying for the LAN are going to have a big step up as well. You'll notice in in these boxes for all of our teams. Some teams have somebody standing behind them, sitting in a chair. Some of them do not and have had to do all of their prep on their own. That's the nature of the Open, where anybody can qualify. And some teams have made it here through mechanical skill, through having a lot of research in their own heads, and some do choose to take advantage of having an extra person to help you prepare for the in-game realities of Apex Legends.
And preparing for in-game reality as well. PvP, or aka J-Mode is in name swap, has been a huge coach across this, like in the scene for a long time now. Here, sticking out with Furia, even Madness and everybody, coming from an IGL myself from before, you had to do a lot of this work on your own. But when you have that one extra person to lean on, even just ball with every now and then, hey, does this sound good? Does this not sound good? Will, broaden your perspective and maybe let you see stuff that you normally wouldn't, because we tend to tunnel vision when we believe one way is the right way. And having somebody to break that wall with you to see, hey, there are more options, we could try newer things that maybe you didn't think of, can elevate you a lot.
Well, we'll see how high these teams can elevate themselves as we jump into our first match of this group in the tournament, the ALGS Open. This is these teams' first debut on this stage, and it's starting off on Storm Point right now.
I mean, Storm Point is where it's at. I love all of these, zones that we've seen so far. A lot of Launchpad we've seen, also a little bit outside southeast of Wall. I'm hoping to see a few more new ones here because, we haven't been able to catch all the matches. There's so many matches going on, but I'm very happy to see that we're jumping straight into here now. We'll see where the zone pulls on later. Everybody right now is just doing the fast macro. Hey, we're looting up fast. They already planned it all out, honestly.
Yeah, it's so true. Like you said, there's so many matches going on. It's difficult to keep track of it. It's impossible to keep track of everything. And it's kind of been driving me crazy because I'm used to watching everything, being able to have the Face It watch open at the same time, being able to catch every fight. But even now, we've got fights starting before we were rightly ready to have them.
Catch going down early is gonna hurt a little bit, but as long as one of them makes it out and they can get the reset, I think they're more than happy. However, this is one of the things when you have a PY that's kind of nearby here, to launch, but on the hill of the southern part, it's very easy to take fights, even though you are essentially separate PYs, on the devastated coast.
Really aggressive North American squad. Twerkaholics are running up into Reply Totem right now. This early jump that was found actually should convert into a largely team fight win, but are we sticking a res right now in front? Nisa got a lot of experience playing, especially at the Challenger Circuit level. Used to be on Morning Stars and now is getting sent. Unfortunately, this aggressive play by Twerkaholics turns into 3 kills unanswered, and Twerkaholics take our first team down.
Reply Totem falling out early. I did not like that move, but I saw by the Newcastle leaving the shield to that extent. However, sometimes when you're in a 2v3, or even at this point, you're pretty much 1v2 them at the end, you have to stick it clean together, and that's what we heard from before when, we heard Shubi talk as well. Hey, we just decided to 3v3 and hold hands, essentially. And that's a very good strat. Holding hands, death balling is definitely a thing.
And when we're thinking about having players, having teams that maybe don't get as much of the spotlight standing out, what a way for Lunix to start things off. Essentially 1v3ing the team on Ashe at the very beginning of the game. That's a great start for a team coming out of Devastated Coast to now get Dev Coast and Launchpad, and that'll really benefit them as they move towards this zone that's pulling us almost exclusively into the Cascade Falls area. We're not really going Command Center at this point. All of Jurassic is excluded, and realistically, I could see us going a little further north of Cascade Falls, but we might be dead center.
Yeah, most definitely. One of the most, common zones, I would say, in ranked. Everybody who plays Stormpoint has seen this at some point. Everybody's already stacking up inside Cascades right now. A lot of teams, however, will opt to play, the no-name buildings west of Cascades and even north of Cascades by the cannon, because at that point, you have an easy rotate in case it does, even if it pulls off, you're not locked in. If you're in Cascades and you're deep in Cascades and there's 5 more teams and everybody's there and you get stuck, it's rough.
Navi looking for the last set of knocks. They already started a fight with 3 Muppets, but have not finished it, so we won't get another full squad elimination right now. Fury actually going to jump in and help out with that, as Cascade is the place to be, and with 3 Muppets running in towards that area, they are unfortunately going to be taken down, or picked up, excuse me, as they now will be back to a duo, I believe, with 1 knocked already.
Yeah, I mean, fast reset without getting, Navi might have gotten a KP, and Fury even tried to help out on that as well as they, get another down now. It is definitely in a tough scenario because you're at the point where you don't, it's so early that people are able to punish you right now.
Yeah.
Everybody isn't in yet. So before everybody gets in there, people are looking to make plays, and we're already seeing downs and, thirst. But as it prolongs, the match prolongs and further on and more teams move into the Cascades, it's going to be less and less of this.
It's curious to me. Ooh, whiffed Altar Portal. Unfortunately, didn't go through the wall the same way that you would have expected. Furia still managed to retain control of this building, but Furia's positioning is odd to me. I know that it's a natural, easy rotate for them into Cascade, but when we think back to this morning's games, we had two big teams that were highlights during the start of the day. It was LG and it was Virtus Pro. And Virtus Pro had the strategy where they would sit in zone, and ultimately, while they did do well, didn't do as well as LG, who was playing on the edge. Now that we see Furia in zone already, and we have Na'Vi, who we know are close by to zone as well, I'm wondering who's actually going to be playing on the edge to collect all this KP?
And like you said, is why you don't really want to full commit to something. Like, you know, if it pulls off of you, you have a really hard time. But if you play in positioning to where you can actually maneuver, you know, if it pulls here, we still have an option. If it pulls here, we still have an option. Without locking yourself in, you know, you're bound to get more points because otherwise you're just praying that the zone is going to pull to you. And a lot of the time now, you know, people know-ish where the zone is, but just that small shift in zone placement where you're out before the team next to you will lead to you getting mopped.
Yeah. Credit to 3 Muppets real quick, as they have managed to stabilize. It's a really good look from a squad that has been playing in Challenger Circuit for ages, is still playing through Challenger Circuit as we speak, sitting 13th. And the fact that they're able to recover in a high-pressure lobby like this, when teams like Na'Vi and teams like Furia were both looking at them, they survived, they've got all 3 members, they've got a spot in zone. This is a really, really nice recovery for a squad that doesn't get that much practice against teams of the caliber that they were facing.
Yeah, most definitely. I think they're very happy here. You know, a lot of the teams that have set up early is now still waiting for it. But as you can see, you know, the people that aren't in zone, that are on edge right now, or even just in the first zone, they're looking to, you know, go in on what I call mid-speed. So you wait for the next zone to show up, and then you hit a beacon or a scan. You don't even need a ring console at that point. You can just hit a scan and almost tell immediately where the zone is pulling. That's when you make your rotate in deeper into the zone where people are still guessing where it's going. You know where it's going, essentially. So, you know, you have a little bit of play from early zone play, super late edge play, where they're just stacked, hoping to take one fight and get a spot. And then you have the mid-speed that has been a lot more popular as of lately. The last year, mid-speed has been growing all over the place. Dark Zero, namely, as well, you know, or Zero, and mainly as well, has been, you know, pioneering it to that degree. Where no, we're waiting for this. We see that, boom, we're going straight into the zone. As we see the zone is about to pop, a lot of movement is going to shift around the map.
Yeah, I'm really curious what'll happen and who's going to react first. Like you say, actually looking at Na'Vi, who are over at Stormcatcher on top of a beacon as we speak, they're going to have first access to this information with the mid-speed play that you're talking about, as the zone pulls a little further north of Cascade into places like where Leave No Witnesses have predicted.
Yeah, outside of wall, essentially, like south of walls now, you know, people are looking to move, rotate, and now they're seeing this, seeing, you know, the scans. But the biggest part is everybody that's already in, a little bit too deep, I would say, have to decide now, hey, are we going to try to move past into the unknown where we can't see because they don't have a beacon? Or are we going to let and hold out our backs now, hoping that people run into us and we can hold them out and we're last walking in? It's a mess.
Graceful, you got to be careful. Hitting me with Into the Unknown, it's right up there with Let It Go in terms of triggering immediate frozen sing-alongs. You got to be very, very careful when we're on mic together. Right now, letting it go themselves, Na'Vi have completely released control of Stormcatcher and are moving in through Command Center, taking a similar approach to what we saw happen in Game 2 of the last series, where LG was able to take wall. This case, that's not so likely, but you can still take control of the north side of the zone by establishing dominance in Command Center and pushing down on teams like LNW and Monster.
Yeah, this timing is the perfect, you know, moment to take a fight, because now everybody's on the movement rather than just waiting to see what, you know, before a zone pop. Like right before a zone pop is the absolute worst, because now people are just hungry. But when a zone is moved, you can already decide, okay, these guys are going to move because they're not in. These guys are not moving, they're staying because they're safe. Now they're looking to, you know, clear Command Center, and we will see, you know, if it goes down or not.
Orb Garden in here with them. You can tell Na'Vi, they know. Just looking for an angle. Maybe a player who's caught a little bit off guard. It doesn't look like Orb. No, not at all. Na'Vi actually may catch them completely off guard with a few G7 shots in the back, but Orb certainly know now. Immediately mobile shield gets thrown down. Zidane does back away. Not as much of a fragger roll on the Catalyst, so does have to back away through the enemy cat wall. And Na'Vi defensively wall themselves. Very curious, Graceful, just to try and take precedent over the door.